Xbox On. Welcome to Xbox On, a podcast with one host about one console, Xbox. I am said host, Jesse DeRosa, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about the latest Xbox news for the week of June 8th, 2023, including a new report details what really went on behind the scenes with Redfall. It's time for our predictions for the imminent Xbox Game Showcase, and more. On this day in Xbox history, in the year 2004, 19 years ago, Interplay Entertainment Corporation, the company was shut down, the basically Brian Fargo's original team, the birthplace of Fallout, company was shut down by order of California Labor Department. Several employees filed complaints after not receiving paychecks for over a month. This was a whole thing back in the early aughts, where Interplay had canceled some distribution deal with Vivendi Universal due to a lawsuit from Vivendi, which was Universal's now defunct game publishing arm, for working on some kind of deal some kind of game that was later canceled, and then the company was also involved with some debt, and later a bunch of employees quit the studio, the whole thing. And hey, it's not a game that released this day in Xbox history, but nonetheless, a pivotal moment in Xbox history, not a pivotal moment in Xbox history, a pivotal moment in gaming history that would later have, bigger implication for Xbox, because Interplay, of course, the team went on to storm, a lot of the talent from Interplay went on to form In Exile, which is now an Xbox-owned team. Brian Fargo and the talent from that team, took their Wasteland games and all that shit and started In Exile. So it's kind of weird. We always talk about how, this team that maybe a lot of Xbox gamers, certainly myself, weren't very familiar with growing up, became so, integral to the Xbox experience because Xbox bought Bethesda, Xbox bought In Exile. Xbox always had like a thing with Bethesda and Fallout, back in the day, and Bethesda games like Elder Scrolls were always kind of marketed and seen as like Xbox games first when it came to console. And now Xbox is like the arbiter and owner of In Exile, which is the team that replaced Interplay, which is the team that created Fallout, and Bethesda Game Studios, which is the team that bought Fallout and then shepherded Fallout and made it what it is today. And then of course Obsidian, who are another team really made up of a lot of old In Exile / Interplay guys who worked on Fallout and then made Fallout New Vegas. And so the whole trifecta, all the different parts of the puzzle, became part of the Xbox history. So this moment in time, this part of Interplay's history, is now, in a way, part of Xbox's history. So, yeah. I'm sorry. Normally we talk about a game, but this week Moby Games didn't have any interesting Xbox-specific games released this day in history. So we're pulling from some other aspects of the industry. Guys, welcome to episode 210 of the Xbox On podcast. Hey, it's a big one. It's the big old episode 210 Xbox Games Showcase prediction show. So this week is going to be a little bit different from normal in that, really, it's always like this. The calm before the storm. There's not too much news happening. There's a big story on Redfall, but other than that, it's really just a bunch of like little stories here and there. And so we'll cover all that, but the big thing this week is going to be our predictions for the Xbox Showcase. I'm really looking forward to doing this. I've been preparing for about a couple weeks. Asked you guys to write in multiple times. So now we got a bunch of audience write-ins, your predictions, your thoughts on what the show's going to be like, my predictions and thoughts on what the show's going to be like. We're going to put that all together, and for our main segment this week, we're going to go into all of those. So timestamp, for those of you who just want to get straight to that, there's going to be a timestamp in the description below, so you can just go straight to the predictions. But we are going to do the show as normal with all the regular segments. It's just for the main news segment. That is where we will do the predictions. Other than that, I'm excited, guys. I'm excited because it's kind of a fun one. It's not as much just like, hey, here's the story, let's read it, let's interpret it. It's just a fun one. It's like, guys, let's what do you think's going to happen? Do you think Phil Spencer's going to take off his shirt and crowd surf at this digital only, not in front of a live audience event? And I don't mean to spoil all my all my predictions, but anything could happen, right? So we'll get into that. Very much looking forward to that. But let's start off the show with our usual opening segments, starting with the notable games releasing this week. So last week we talked about Diablo 4 coming out if you bought the Wealthy People edition, but Diablo 4 is officially out in its full capacity for us normies because the standard regular edition of the game is officially out on, what is it, the 9th? No, the 6th, so it's already out. So as the time I'm recording this, it's already out. You're already playing it. $70, Blizzard Entertainment, Activision-owned studio, soon to be Xbox-owned studio, technically, possibly, maybe. But yeah, I mean, hey, the verdict is in. Diablo 4 is apparently just a phenomenal game. People are absolutely loving it. It seems like pretty widely the reception is it's the best Diablo game yet, and so that's good news for the team. That's good news for the players. I'm happy all around. It seems like people are really loving this game. I will definitely get to Diablo 4 either A, when it's available for like $30 one day, or B, when Xbox buys Activision Blizzard and it goes into Game Pass. Not because I don't think the game is worth $70, but because if it's anything like Diablo 3, it's a game I'm going to be like, I should play this game, and then I'm going to put like 8 hours into it and not even be that invested in it, and then probably just drop it and not really care. So I'd rather just have a lower barrier to entry just because I don't know that I'll stick with it. However, I recognize this is easily one of the top games of the year for a lot of people, and it's a very exciting moment. So congrats, and also congrats to all the ex-Xbox talent that had a hand in this, that left Xbox in recent years to go work at Blizzard and go be a part of this game. People like Mike Ibarra or Rod Ferguson. So whether it was more directly leading the game or the project or just leading Blizzard, a lot of old Xbox folk are on this project as well, and it will all come for full circle. We talked about In Exile and Obsidian and Bethesda and Fallout and all that coming full circle with Xbox. Well, now Diablo might be one of those things too, because all these old Xbox guys left to go work at Blizzard and help to make Diablo 4, and now Xbox is about to buy Activision Blizzard, and then Diablo is going to become part of the Xbox brand and family, and then it's, again, just another one of these, when you're just one of the wealthiest corporations in the world, you can use money to buy some reason and connection and rationality into every aspect of gaming culture. And I just love that. I can't wait for us all to be defending Pokemon as a classic Xbox franchise when Xbox coughs up the money to buy the Pokemon company and the majority stake that Nintendo owns in that company as well. But until then, Diablo 4 is out. Seems like a great game. People are loving it. Actually, it's really funny. I was listening to, it was actually not funny at all, but it's really interesting. I was listening to David Jaffe, the creator of God of War, the PlayStation game. He not the new God of Wars, but the original God of War. Like, he created the franchise, the IP of God of War. He does he does like YouTube videos and personality stuff nowadays. He doesn't really make games anymore, but really interesting voice in the community. If you don't listen to him or follow him, I recommend you checking out his YouTube channel. He's very, very interesting. But David Jaffe, the creator of God of War, has been he was talking about Diablo 4, and he was saying, I feel like with this game, the production of the game, like the whole process has been so good. It seems like Rod Ferguson, who was kind of like the head producer of the game, he's kind of like the overseer, the head producer of the Diablo franchise. And of course, Rod Ferguson, prior to this, was known as like the kind of overseer of the Gears of War franchise after Microsoft bought Gears of War from Epic and the coalition formed, and they kind of took on the Gears of War franchise and shepherded it. Well, Rod Ferguson was the kind of guy who led that project through Gears of War 4 and Gears 5, and probably a large part of why we, I at least always say Gears is such a strong franchise even after the acquisition and everything, and Gears 5 is such a great game because this guy's done a great job kind of leading the team, and it seems like he's taken that skill and that ability to produce and lead and have that timeline, that project kind of meet its goals and fully realize its vision. And he's been able to apply it to the team at Blizzard, who have made Diablo 4 the supposed great game that people are claiming it is, and I'm sure it is. And anyway, David Jaffe, creator of God of War, was just going on about this, saying how basically he's like, yeah, I mean, Xbox should just get this guy to be like, they're kind of one of their head studio managers or kind of liaisons to help lead and navigate these teams who are going through all this production issues right now. just with Xbox not being able to get games out in a reasonable time, and with all these Xbox games having mixed quality as they come out, and you need a guy like this kind of overseeing the whole thing. And he was like, get this guy. In fact, you had this guy. In fact, once they buy Activision Blizzard, they'll probably have this guy again, so promote him. And I was just kind of laughing about that, because it's like, it is true, because you think about the Coalition, Gears 4, pretty reasonable time frame for it to be developed. Gears 5, same thing. Both games fucking phenomenal. In my personal opinion, they're the best entries in the Gears of War franchise. Really, really solid games, really excellent entries in Xbox's first-party lineup. And then what has happened to the Coalition since Rod Ferguson has left, and he left shortly after Gears 5 came out? Well, they played around with some new IP. They canceled some projects. They did basically nothing for a bunch of years, and now they're going back to Gears of War to just now start Gears 6 development. And it's like, man, it just seems like the team kind of lost direction and fell apart a little bit without Rod Ferguson at the helm. And it's just funny, because he went over to Blizzard and helped, Diablo 4 become this excellent, fully content complete, realized product that people are claiming it is. And again, I'm sure it is. So I don't know. I just think that's pretty funny and interesting. I never connected those dots and was like, yeah, he kind of was like the through line, right? And there's no doubt Xbox needs some more hands-on, really experienced S-tier kind of producers and liaisons communicating with these studios, leading these projects, figuring out what's going right, what's going wrong, what these teams need, because clearly it just seems like every Xbox team, or at least most of these first-party teams, are just somewhat on fire. Xbox is too hands-off, mostly they're too hands-off, and they're just not able to identify what it is these teams need in these individual bases of like, this is what this team is struggling with, this is what this game needs in order to go from being a great idea to a great game. And I don't know, it's like you got to get a guy like this back in the fold, and if they get this Activision deal like it looks like they're going to, this might be the kind of guy you want to take and be like, hey, now that you're back in the fold, we're promoting you, you're getting a bigger role, we need you to spread your magic to all the teams, not just hoard it for Blizzard or for the Coalition or what have you. So I don't know. That's a really interesting point by David Jaffe. I just kind of wanted to share that. But yeah, Diablo 4 is out now. I'm sure many people are playing it, loving it. I also heard that the microtransactions have been unleashed, which I don't mind that the game has microtransactions. What I hate is that Activision does that bullshit they did with Crash Team Racing and that they've been known to do these days, where it's like, release the game, get the great reviews, get a lot of fanfare, and then once that stuff's done, then unleash the microtransactions, the storefront, all that shit with the things that people would criticize to kind of like pad your review scores and, have your cake and eat it too. Get the good word out there and then still be able to monetize nickel and dime and all that good stuff. So the other big game coming out this week is Amnesia: The Bunker. It's a Game Pass Day 1 title. It is out now. It's a $25 game if you don't want to get it through Game Pass. Developed by Frictional Games. It's a World War I bunker setting in the Amnesia series. I gotta be honest, I don't care for the Amnesia series. I have no enthusiasm for it whatsoever. I've tried these games. They don't do it for me. And simply talking about this one doesn't make it any better. So I'm just gonna say it's out there. Go try it if you want it. And with that, we're gonna move on to our Activision updates of the week. You guys, the faster we get through these things, the faster we can get to our predictions. Just kidding. We got some good stuff to talk about. Let's not run through it too fast. So I think, 2 updates on the Xbox store, on the Activision deal? Yes, 2. So the first one here is that Microsoft could be, and these are from VGC, of course. It's the only website I know how to go to. My keyboard's broken. Only the V, the G, and the C keys are still functional. So it's the only website I can get to. But Microsoft has considered pulling Activision from the UK market as one extreme option to bypass the country's blocking of its proposed $69 billion deal. According to a Bloomberg report, that is, which states that Microsoft's President Brad Smith will meet with UK Chancellor Jeremy Hunt next week to voice his frustration over the CMA's decision to block the deal a couple weeks back. Microsoft confirmed to the publication that Smith will be in London, where he's giving a scheduled talk about the potential of AI and the need for thoughtful regulation of it. He also held a private discussion on other issues, including the proposed Activision Blizzard deal, and how he remains committed to finding creative and constructive ways to address the remaining regulatory concerns, said a spokesperson. Hunt previously criticized the CMA's veto, telling Business Conference recently that they must understand the wider responsibilities. However, Bloomberg claims that the government ministers are also unhappy with some of Smith's public criticisms of the CMA, including stating that he believed the EU was a better place to do business than the UK. I mean, you can't be pissed that someone said that you're not a good place to do business when you blocked their business deal. I mean, it's just, listen, I get it. You eat beans on toast, but so we got to understand that some things you do just don't make sense. But like, this makes sense. You just got to understand it. You got to believe as British people, please, for the love of God, you don't have to use dental floss. You don't have to eat a regular balanced breakfast. But at the very least, you got to understand that a business might not think you're a great place to do business when you block their business deal. It's just how it's going to be. So they might be a little upset. So I just don't know what to tell you there. Anyway. So we know Microsoft has an appeal date set for sometime in July, so we'll get a second round of what's going on there. But I don't know. I like this idea of Microsoft. Obviously, I think this is more just like a scare tactic than anything. It's just like we'll say the thing that will get a lot of headlines and get people talking because it doesn't look good for the UK, and that's kind of their tact here is like, hey, we did the things you asked us to do. You said we got to be more competitive. You said you don't want us to have a monopoly over the cloud streaming shit. We addressed all of that, and then you still blocked our deal. And so now I feel like Microsoft's tact has been to kind of say some shit, get in some headlines, make the UK look bad, make the CMA look bad, which isn't very hard. All you got to do is point to colonialism, and then immediately everyone's like, oh, yeah, they do suck. But I feel like that's kind of like the approach here is to kind of bully them in the public eye to make them kind of have to buckle the knee a little bit, bend the knee a little bit. I don't really see what else they could be doing because it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for them to be like, yeah, we just won't do Activision in the UK market. UK market is a huge market for Activision games. The UK market actually really, really likes games like Call of Duty and stuff like that, so it just wouldn't make sense not to sell it there. And then they talk about how it's like, well, what we would be able to do to get our games in the UK still is if Microsoft owns Activision can release Activision games under like some sub publisher or something like that in that market. Kind of like how, I don't know if this is still the case, but I know back in the day, I think Activision used to have Call of Duty published by Square Enix in Japan only. So if you bought like Call of Duty Black Ops, it may have had the Square Enix logo on it instead of the Activision logo because they just had like a regional publisher or someone to bring it to market. And so they talked about how maybe they could do that with Activision games, and that way it's like, well, it's not Microsoft putting their games in the UK market where that deal was blocked and not recognized. It's Activision having a different company take their games and bring them to that market. And so it would be like kind of a workaround so they could still sell games there, although they probably wouldn't be able to use like, they probably still have to have some specialized version of Game Pass where you can't have like Call of Duty and Diablo and such on it. So I don't know exactly how that would look. I really don't think logistically or realistically that's something that's going to happen, but it is a talking point you can use as kind of a weapon to get yourself out there in the news and to make the CMA look bad and to kind of put a little pressure on their necks to be like, do the thing we want you to do. Listen, UK, all we ask is that you stop colonizing, you start. If there's anything we want you to colonize, well, not colonize. If there's anything we want you to take and steal, it's just better culinary tips. It's like I don't understand how, Europe is seen as like the epicenter of fine cuisine, and the British got nothing to say for it except for maybe beef Wellington, and that's about it. Like, and don't get me wrong, beef Wellington's some damn good shit, but like really, that's all you got going for you, UK. That's all you got going for you. You got beer and beans and shit. Like I don't care about any of that. So if you're going to steal, if you're going to colonize, if you're going to be an aggressor, I mean, take some goddamn good food, although that is what you did. That is why you invaded, like, Asia and stuff, is you wanted spices and all the things to make your boiled chicken not taste like shit. But anyway, it's okay. It's okay. Let the deal go through, not because I'm an Xbox fanboy and I want to see Xbox get bigger and stronger, but because I'm just so damn tired of seeing you in the news. God fucking damn it. The other half of this, now we jump over from the UK, from one colonizer to another, we shift on over to the United States, where the other, actually more contemporary mainstream colonizer is in focus now, the U.S. government. Now we're talking about Microsoft agreeing to pay the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission of the U.S., $20 million for illegal... Actually, this is not connected to the Activision deal. This is... I don't know how this ended up here, but let's read it nonetheless. Microsoft's agreed to pay the FTC $20 million for illegally collecting personal information from children on Xbox consoles without parents' consent. Maybe I put this in the Activision section because this sounds like something Activision would do. I don't know. According to an FTC statement, the Xbox sign-up process violates Children's Online Privacy Protection Act because it collects children's personal information without notifying their parents and getting their permission. Xbox was also accused of, quote, illegally retaining children's personal information, something the company has admitted and described as a technical glitch. The issue, which is mainly remedied as of late 2021, revolved around the process which was required when signing up for an Xbox Live account. When a user signed up for an account, they had to provide their full name, email, date of birth, everything. Even if they were under 13, they were still asked to provide more personal info, including the phone number. Until 2019, this was also included in a pre-check box agreeing to receive promotional material and to let Microsoft send user data to advertisers. So sending like a 9-year-old's user data to an advertiser. I don't see the problem. How's that any different from Saturday morning cartoons, but whatever. Only after this information was provided did the process that required anyone under 13 to get parents to complete the rest of the account creation process. However, according to the FTC's complaint from 2015 to 2020, children's data was still retained even if the process wasn't completed, sometimes for years. So here's the thing is, yes, wrong, and I'm a fan of holding the corporation accountable for not properly handling the privacy of young children, but the fact of the matter is these kids are probably old now. We're talking about 2015 kids. If you're a 2015 kid, you're probably a 2015 young adult at this point. No one gives a shit about your personal information. Nobody gives a shit about you. You're going to go on there and make a TikTok and show your booty hole anyway, so it doesn't really matter what you're doing anyway. So Xbox, I say exonerate them. They're just, they're just a poor corporation. Listen, please, profits are down right now. They only made $2.4 billion in revenue in the last quarter. It's like, come on, go easy on them, please. It's been a rough time. They've had to do fighting in court battles in Europe of all places. They don't even have AC. Can you imagine how hard it is for a guy like Brad Smith to go over to the UK and fight to buy Activision when the fucking UK ain't even going to give you AC in your goddamn hotel or whatever the hell it is he has to stay in? He probably doesn't even get to stay in a hotel. He probably stays in a flat, in a bed and breakfast, and it's a lot. So US, I implore you to go easy on Xbox. They haven't had a great year, a great couple years. They haven't had a great couple generations, let's be honest. So maybe just give them a slap on the wrist. And I say, fuck them kids, their information's out there in the wild. Big deal, you know what I'm saying? It's like my information's out there in the wild and still nobody talks to me. So it's like the kids will probably be okay, right? If anything, you need to be more worried about what happens to them once they get to school, because God knows no one's looking out for that shit. But that's a different discussion. So yeah, kids, no good. UK, no good. Call of Duty, let's make it Xbox exclusive. I say fuck the ponies. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 remaster, Xbox Series X exclusive. Fuck you, Series S. And we'll remake every Zombies map. All right, Jesse for president. Let's move on. All right, guys, let's get into the mildly amusing stories. These stories of mild amusements, updates from last week, things of that nature. And this is kind of where like the news is going to rest or reside for the week. So bear with me here as we get into these first two, which I think are going to be quite interesting. I don't know how much mileage we'll get out of, especially this first one, but I think quite interesting we have here. So, hey, are you hyped about the game showcase this Thursday, this Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern time? Well, guess what? We got some even better news to get you extra hyped. So, according to some tweets from Mr. Aaron Greenberg, none of the first-party trailers shown during the Xbox Game Showcase this upcoming Sunday will consist of just CGI footage. None will be entirely CGI footage. No trailers, just showing fucking Disney Pixar rendering of a fairy princess pixie dust flying around with a fucking name and nothing else. We're going to get actual gameplay or something that matters along with that CG footage. So after tweeting this past week that there were 7 days to go until the showcase, the VP of Games Marketing, Aaron Greenberg, was asked on Twitter by a fellow follower if the showcase would feature gameplay from announced titles and CG trailers for unannounced titles. To which he said, and that's a really good question, because that is generally how it goes. It's like, okay, we've announced this game a year or two ago, now let's show gameplay. It's like, okay, so we haven't announced this game, let's just show a CGI trailer. So he responds and goes, none of our first-party games in the show are full CG trailers. Everything is either in-game footage or in-engine footage or in-game footage with some cinematics. Each of our trailers will be labeled, so we'll hopefully clear it for our fans. End quote. It's not clear if Greenberg comments were in reference to the recent PlayStation showcase, which was under some scrutiny for, heavily CG trailers with not a whole lot of gameplay in certain cases, like with the PlayStation Studios game Fair Games coming soon. Greenberg also told another follower that there will be no movie trailers in the game showcase, which is clearly a reference to Sony's recent showcase that had a trailer for the upcoming August release movie Gran Turismo, which actually, side note, looks fucking awesome. I'm really excited to watch that movie. But anyway, I almost want to love this, but it's like, okay, hang on. So every trailer is going to have either gameplay or gameplay with CG trailer footage. That's great. That's phenomenal. It's awesome. I don't like this part where he gets to go, it may be in-engine footage. So this is another thing I fucking hate, when someone's like, all right, the trailer is all in-engine footage. It's like a cinematic. It's like you're watching a fucking movie. And then it says in white, tiny 8-point font in the bottom center of the screen, in-engine footage, not actual gameplay. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna clarify, because this is annoying. It's like talking to a 5-year-old who's just trying to be cute because they understand words now. In-engine footage, but not actual gameplay, is just as bad to me as CG trailer with no gameplay. Because I'll be honest, and this might be a little bit of a controversial thing to say on an Xbox podcast, especially because Xbox is the most powerful brand of gaming, or whatever the fuck they're supposed to be, and also apparently because I'm a Nintendo hater. But honest to God, I don't give a shit how good a game looks. A game can look so insanely middle of the road. Like, if a game looks really, really, really good, it's nice. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate that. I admire that. I like it when games look very nice. But that's not a deal breaker for me. And when I'm looking at a game saying, what is this game? Am I interested in this game? Is this a cool game? The last thing on the list of things that matter for me, that matters, is how the game looks. Because I really don't care all that much. If the game looks like a fun video game, we got something to talk about. But if you're showing me in-engine footage of a cinematic that still gives me no concept of what the fucking game is, it's just as bad as giving me a CG trailer, because I don't care about your in-engine world. I care about what the game is. It's like, it's like why nobody gives a shit about Contraband, because you showed us a trailer that doesn't give us any concept of what the game is. And therefore, I couldn't possibly bring myself to give a single flying fuck about this game until you show me the game. So, a little bit of like a, hey. You're trying to get us hyped with this whole, you're going to see gameplay, or you're going to see a mix of gameplay with CG, which sounds great. But then you're like, or maybe it'll be in-engine footage. I'm like, now you got me. Listen, you don't stand to benefit by talking this way. So let's put it this way. If it ends up being that I'm just making a big deal out of nothing, and it seems like pretty much every first-party game shown is going to have gameplay footage, then we're good. Nothing to talk about. This is great news. This is clearly Microsoft saying, hey, we can't keep fucking this up. We've burned through so much goodwill recently. We've really got to give the fans something to really champion and be excited about. And so you're just going to show gameplay for all of these games. That's phenomenal. It's the absolute most I could ever ask for, and I appreciate it. So that's best case scenario. Worst case scenario, these guys are just straight up fucking lying to us and saying, yes, most of them will have gameplay, but there are a couple trailers that are just going to be in-game, in-engine footage. And I don't know, man. Like, that in-engine, it means nothing to me. It means absolutely nothing to me. Whatever. It's not cool. It works in a movie. It can work for a movie. It does not work for a game. I always actually remember, I don't know why I'm going to say this, but real ones will remember this. Go back in time to 2007. If you go back to 2007, when the greatest movie of all time, and I say that with there's no sarcasm at all in that. It genuinely is. In 2007, in the summer of 2007, a movie called Ratatouille came to movie theaters, directed by Brad Bird, created by Pixar Animation Studios, the greatest movie studio of all time, the greatest film of all time, Ratatouille. When you watch that movie, there's a trailer at the front, in the front of that movie, and it was for a movie that would come out the following summer. I think it came out in May or June of 2008. It's called WALL-E. It was Pixar's next movie, another great movie, by no means as good as Ratatouille, but another great movie. God damn it! And the reason I bring this up is because the WALL-E trailer to me is so iconic. It always sticks in my mind because WALL-E, for anyone who's seen it, and I assume a shit ton of people who are listening to this podcast have seen WALL-E before, know that it's like, yeah, that's kind of a hard movie to market what it is, because what it is at the beginning and what the movie evolves into, it's kind of a little bit of a tough sell, but it's a great movie that people of all ages will have a really fun time watching. I always remember the trailer for WALL-E because you could tell Pixar had like a really like tough time figuring out like, how are we going to present what this movie is to audiences? And they're like, we'll just do something cool and clever. And the trailer for WALL-E was just this like little like interview like footage of various, executives and leads and artists at Pixar talking about like, back in the summer of 1990 whatever, when we were working on, movies that would eventually become Toy Story and A Bug's Life and Finding Nemo, we had this one idea for this character, but we didn't know what to do with it. And then it shows like these sketches of like a little robot, and then it's like, and that character eventually turned into this little guy. Introducing WALL-E, and then it like just like did like a little music intro, and it just showed like a modern 3D rendering of what WALL-E would look like, and he's just being a little cute robot. He's just rolling around this fucking post-apocalyptic United States, motherfucking probably Miami, Florida, and you're just like, oh, I don't know what that is, but that sounds cool because I'm invested in Pixar. They make good movies, and now they're promising something that's like this brainchild from back in the past that they've finally been able to make into something interesting, and now I'm compelled to check out what this movie is. And I always remember that being like a really standout trailer to me because I'm like, it doesn't tell you a goddamn thing about what the movie is. It just introduces you to the character and makes you go, huh, well, I already have buy-in with this movie studio, and this sounds interesting. It sounds like a passion project, and I want to be there for it. So I'm going to watch that movie. That's great. That's great. That worked for WALL-E in 2007. That's fucking phenomenal. But when a video game trailer does something similar, it has a very opposite effect, because my thing is like, I'm curious to figure out what WALL-E is. I'm going to sit my ass in a movie theater for 90 minutes and watch the damn thing. But I don't want to go fucking, oh yeah, remember the Xbox trailer where it's like a desk and it has like a world map on it, and then it shows like a globe, and then it shows like a bunch of fucking shuffled papers and books on another table, and then there's like a chair, and then there's like a window with light creeping through it, and then it goes contraband, and then it's like, I really want to know more about. No, not the same fucking effect, dude, because you're not telling me what the game is, if it's going to be fun to play, because you could show me all the fucking dirty, discombobulated desks across the entire fucking globe, and it wouldn't mean a thing if I don't know if I'm playing an RTS, an FPS, an MMO, a fucking, God forbid, dating sim. I don't know. Like, what the hell is contraband? And I understand later on Xbox was like, it's a heist game, 4-player co-op. But it's like, that's lame, dude. You can't promote your games the same way. You can't take a medium that is solely interactive and say, get hyped for this interactive experience that you don't get a taste of what it looks like. Because that is the whole point of a trailer. It's like, we can't put the controller in your hands and let you know what this game feels like, so we will present you gameplay that will try to give you the best idea possible of what the game might feel like once you do get the controller in your hands. Movie trailer is supposed to be like, here's enough of a movie to try to convince you that this movie is going to be something you're going to be emotionally and mentally invested in, and you'll want to sit down for 2 hours and watch. It's a much easier sell. But I don't need my fucking video games trying to be like, in the summer of 1994, we had an idea for a 4-player action co-op game that would be reduced price so we could add microtransactions on the back end. And this game would have seasonal content that may or may not feature homages to 80s action movies like Lethal Weapon. That game is contraband, coming 2020 whatever, because Xbox can't get a game out the door. And I'm not trying to be, I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek, a little goofy here, but all joking aside and harassing aside, it's just, I don't know, man. I want to be excited about this, and I am excited for this, and I don't even know why I'm going off so much about it. By the time you're listening to this podcast, we're like 72 hours away from figuring all this shit out anyway. But I don't know, man. I hate, it's like the fucking the disclaimer. It's like, everything will be in-game footage, or in-game footage with cinematics. I'm like, yeah. And like, or, in-engine footage. I'm like, fuck. You might as well just said nothing at all, because now I don't know what the hell we're going to see. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that State of Decay 3 trailer said in-engine, the one we got like 2 years ago. It's like, who gives a shit? It doesn't, whatever. I mean, it's less offensive when it's State of Decay because you have 2 other games to go off of to know what it might be like. But a game like Contraband, I'm like, what the fuck? What is that? And like Perfect Dark, it's like you're reimagining Perfect Dark. So I need to see the game in action, dude. Like, what is it? I don't know. Anyway, we're done. We're done here. We're not talking about this anymore. We're moving on to the second story here, which is probably the biggest story we have to talk about. Other than our predictions, which is, of course, the most important thing. I'm sure many outlets will probably pick up this podcast this week to talk about what my predictions were. So I assume that will probably be the biggest thing we talk about. But the second biggest thing is the story with Redfall. But yeah, this Redfall story broke just after last week's show. Wouldn't you know it? Ain't that always the case? But we got some really interesting update on Redfall. I think it doesn't change the way I feel about the game, but it definitely adds a lot of perspective and understanding to what happened with this game. So let's jump into this. I think it's quite interesting what we got here. But from VGC, a new report claims to shed some light on the circumstances that resulted in Redfall's disappointing release last month. Following several delays, the first major Xbox exclusive from Bethesda with a number of technical issues, generally reviewed poorly, gathering a 56 aggregate score on Xbox and a 54 on PC from Metacritic. Redfall is a multiplayer looter shooter genre with a new that's new to creator Arcane Studios, which is best known for its critically acclaimed single player games Dishonored and Prey. Although I would add the disclaimer, it's not exactly a looter shooter, but kind of a looter shooter. Anyway, according to a Bloomberg report that was released last week, Jason Schreier, shout out to him, the game's development was hampered by a lack of clear direction, high turnover of staff, and insignificant resources for what was being billed as a AAA game. The report, which is based on the accounts of over a dozen of anonymous sources who worked on the game, said that the project started development in 2018 after being pitched to staff as a multiplayer Arcane game. Some members reportedly found the pitch confusing and felt unsure that the sort of gameplay Arcane was known for would translate well to a co-op setting. The game reportedly suffered because of its development team continually being understaffed, with Arcane Austin's office employing fewer than 100 people and insufficient outsourcing support offered by Bethesda. Many experienced developers who weren't interested in making a multiplayer game reportedly leaving the studio, with almost 3/4 of the Austin staff who had worked on 2017's Prey said to have been departed from the studio by the time Redfall was actually finished. Arcane is said to have experienced difficulties filling vacancies with lower than average salaries in its Texas location, in the desire prospective employees to work on single-player immersive sims viewed as contributing factors. When development of the game started, Bethesda's then-parent company ZeniMax was reportedly pushing the studio to develop live service titles. And according to Bloomberg, Redfall had significant microtransaction plans in place for 3 years before it was scrapped in 2021, which explains a lot. The same year, Microsoft acquired ZeniMax for $7.5 billion, and some Arcane staff reportedly hoped that Xbox might even cancel Redfall or reboot this as a single-player game altogether. However, Microsoft took something of an offhand approach to Bethesda's game development studios, as Xbox boss Phil Spencer acknowledged in the recent Kind of Funny Games interview, which we talked about exhaustively a couple weeks back. Quote, this is from the interview, "We didn't do a good job early on with engaging Arcane Austin and really help them understand what it meant to be a part of Xbox first party and use some of our internal resources to help them move along the journey even faster. We left them to work on the game. They're a very talented team. Love that team. I still do. Bet on them for another great game, blah, blah, blah." But then he goes on and says, well, I think we can engage earlier on with different studios, and I don't think there's a difference when it comes to what the creative is already set on a game and what's not. And I do think there's a difference when it comes in, when the creative is already set on a game, and that's not washing our hands. Every game we ship from our teams is an Xbox game, so we take full responsibility for it. Spencer said that he believed the platform holder did a better job with Bethesda's other 2023 release, the upcoming sci-fi RPG Starfield, in terms of assisting the developer because the game was earlier in production when they acquired it. All right. So yeah, he did talk about that. Phil Spencer touched on basically how they were more involved in Starfield's development because that game was a little earlier on, whereas Redfall was a little further along when they acquired them. So like, you know what? They're doing their thing. Listen, I get it. Let's give Phil Spencer the benefit of the doubt. It was like, hey, we just bought this parent company. We don't want to come ruffling feathers and just knocking on Arcane's door and be like, hey, we own you now. What are you working on? This isn't right. This needs to be this. We're taking over. This is what we're doing. I get it. It's like, you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to piss off your developers. You don't want to upset them and risk losing talent and all these kinds of things. It's like, hey, let's kind of like leave these guys alone, sit back, observe, see what these teams are working on, see what these teams are doing, and then we'll kind of go from there based on, what we think needs to happen. However, it's like, I don't know, you're telling me no one at Xbox was ever in the room with Arcane figuring out what was going on, and no one ever raised a question and said, hey, this game isn't coming together, like, we need to get involved. You tell me no one from Arcane ever came to someone higher up and was like, we need someone to get involved. We're begging for help. This game needs to be canceled. You had people working on this game who secretly hoped Xbox would cancel the game when they acquired ZeniMax and Bethesda. That's fucking insane.
That's just freaking insane. Honestly, I feel like there's so many ways you can take this story now that you have this information. It's like, I don't know. I feel like what happened was Xbox came in. They're like, so the Arcane guys are working on this new multiplayer kind of like open world sim co-op vampire slaying. Okay, cool. Hey, we need games. Our pipeline's a little dry. These guys are kind of far along the process. They usually release pretty good shit. Let's back off, let them do their thing, and let's have this game. We'll have a quick, easy access, new kind of first party title to kind of get an easy win, right? They always do good shit. So I get if Xbox kind of had that approach of just like, let's leave them alone. It's a quick, easy get for like a first outing from these guys. But have we not learned enough with Halo, with what's happening behind the scenes with State of Decay 3, some of the other stories we've got from other teams, what's happening with Redfall? It's like, clearly we need someone to get involved. I feel like there's this version of Xbox that is so scarred by the Xbox of yesterday, the Xbox of the 360 era that was a little more micromanaging, a little more hands-on, a little more controlling, a little more business-oriented. Let's do the things that drive the numbers and that drive engagement, the things that are a proven success. And, the Microsoft that ultimately drove Bungie away and kind of ended that relationship between one of the great game developers of all time and Xbox. And it just seems like the Phil Spencer era, ever since he kind of came to power back in 2014, was it, has just been marked by this like attitude of like, oh, we'll be super hands off and leave developers alone. I get it. Listen, man, I get that Phil Spencer kind of came from the trenches all the way back in the day with his early starts, and that he worked in game development, and that he's like, quote unquote, one of us as far as it goes for like the developers, right? It's like, what if one of our guys made it to the top? We have one of our guys representing us. And I truly believe that people that work for Phil Spencer do love him for this reason, is because he's understanding, he's compassionate and empathetic towards the developers, the teams, and what their creative goals and ambitions are. And I don't doubt for a second that is one of the truly excellent things about Phil Spencer. But at the end of the day, you have to deliver great games for your consumers. That is your number one priority as the head of Xbox, the CEO of motherfucking gaming. And for them to just have not had any hands-on with this game, for no one to have been in the room and said, hey, something's going on here. This team has hemorrhaged 3/4 of the staff that made its previous game. That's fucking insane. That literally tells you the team that made Redfall is not the developer that made Prey in 2017. 100% is not that. You have a group of people that worked on Prey and worked on Redfall, but you do not have a developer that made Prey also made Redfall kind of situation. That's 100% not what you have here. And that's deeply concerning. Like this team is officially a different team now. The people behind Prey and in Dishonored, that team doesn't exist anymore. It's like BioWare. It's like how we always talk about, the guys that made Mass Effect and Dragon Age 2 and all that shit back in the day. Like, that's not BioWare today. BioWare is some other company with the same name and some people who rotate in and out from time to time. But for the most part, it's just this random team that EA owns that's called BioWare that's making games that BioWare once made. And that's kind of what Arcane Austin now is. It's just some name that Bethesda owns that makes games that Arcane made. If they make a Prey 2 or a Dishonored 3, maybe some of those guys come back to the team to work on these games again. Maybe. But that core team you had that's responsible for these great hits that Arcane Austin was so beloved for, that team's defunct as far as I'm concerned. That's fucking sad. Like, that should never happen. Redfall, and I say this as someone who genuinely liked Redfall and thought it got a little more hate than it deserved. Redfall was not worth destroying the culture and the makeup of Arcane Austin. It was not worth it.
And that's a fucking travesty that developers were left in a situation where they felt helpless. They felt like the team that they had working together on these great games was just unable to do what they do best and was unable to find a way forward with the project that they were kind of pushed into, and hoping that Xbox would come in and say, hey, let's restart this game. You make it into what you want to make it, or hey, let's outright cancel this and you guys do something you feel more comfortable doing. I mean, it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B of what Xbox needs to do, right? Because it's like, on the one hand, it's like Xbox should have been more hands-on, so they could have been like, hey, this game is not happy. Like, people are not happy making it. This game's not coming together. We need to do something about that. But also, Xbox needs to do what they do best and be a little hands-off and be like, yo, you guys aren't happy making this? Cool. Cancel it. Go make a game you want to make. And of course, in part of the saddest part is it's like we're sitting here shitting on Xbox and how they fucked up with this. And the funny thing is, this game was pushed onto Arcane from Bethesda, from ZeniMax, and this initiative a few years back to do more games like live service games. And so that's how this game ended up the way it was. And so really, this should be Bethesda's problem, ZeniMax's problem. They should be the ones blamed, right? Because they pushed this game onto the developer. The developer didn't want to do this game. The developer really couldn't do this game. They weren't properly staffed or set up for this kind of game. People started leaving the project. And then Xbox came in, basically made it their problem by still not doing anything about it and letting the problem persist. And now it makes Xbox look bad for Bethesda's mistake. And, I truly believe Redfall is an anomaly. I know it's like we talk about Xbox teams that made some mistakes, and Xbox is in a rough spot right now. The situation with Redfall is no doubt a unique circumstance that I don't think will happen again, because I think Xbox will take a very much do your own thing kind of approach to whatever Arcane does next. But the damage has been done. The team is already completely shifted and just dismantled and mangled into something completely new, and the reputation of the studio is already damaged because people don't like Redfall, and Redfall already helped damage the Xbox brand. And all for what? Because what? At one point a few years ago, ZeniMax was like, hey, live service games are popular. Do one. And it said in 2021 they canceled plans. What was that? They canceled plans to have it be like a significantly microtransaction-ridden game, and then they scrapped that. As someone who played a lot of Redfall, I can tell you the game's really not a games as a service, looter, shooter, microtransaction, whatever, because when you really play it, it feels like a single-player game that you can play co-op, that's better enjoyed single-player, that has like light RPG elements like grinding for better guns and leveling up. However, it's not a kind of game where it's like, oh man, I got like the level 17 Kyber gun. I need to go get the purple Doomslayer skin and level it up to 87 and then grind for better gear. Like, you can kind of do that on like a really rudimentary level, but that's not how the game actually plays. When you're playing the game, it's very much just like, hey, this gun's more powerful than the last gun. I'll use this gun for now. And you just continue to play your very standard Far Cry kind of single player open world FPS fare. So the thing is, it's like, I understand it was supposed to be a lot of things that it's not, but the game plays very much to me like a single-player, open-world, FPS kind of game that is very self-contained. It doesn't need a whole lot of DLC. It doesn't need seasons. It doesn't need microtransactions or skins. It has a little bit of that stuff, and there's room to do more of it, but I don't know. I really don't classify this game as a live service or a games as a service type game, because it's really not what we ended up getting. And I do understand that the reason why it's a little bit of this, and I don't kind of get that, and I do kind of see this, but it's not really that. It comes from this game just being so misdirected with a team that wasn't prepared to make a certain type of game, was forced to make a certain type of game, didn't want to do that, tried to do something else. You feel that. You feel that in the final product, because the issues even I have with the game are just these issues. Exactly. It's like, it doesn't feel like a co-op game. The game is actually less fun to play with friends. I highly recommend you play it by yourself. It is a better single player game than it is a co-op game. And the various characters with the different abilities, it's kind of just silly. It doesn't need to happen that way. But I mean, hey, here it is. Here's the story. Here's why. And I hope the lesson learned is Xbox is a lot more hands-on, because, yeah, you can be really hands-on and still let the creatives do their thing, right? Back off. If Rare says, hey, we don't want to make Banjo-Kazooie 3, we want to make a pirate online game, let them do it. but then make sure you have the right people in place to kind of be like, all right, let's make sure the game's coming along. Let's make sure you got something compelling. Let's make sure there's a good gameplay loop. The game is fun. The game is polished. The game seems like something premium. Like have those milestones met and have someone producing and leading the studios. Have a Rod Ferguson or someone like that kind of making sure that teams are pulling out the golden nugget of each game, the thing that makes it special, and are able to kind of pull that out and make a unique, fully fleshed out game, rather than just, hey, what's popular right now is games as a service games. Make one of those, single player developer, and fuck you if it doesn't work out. You got to know when. It's like any good parent, any good manager, anything. You got to know when to trust your team, when to trust your child, and when to kind of step in and be like, okay, now it's time for me to get involved. Now it's time for mom to get involved. Now it's time for manager to get involved. It's like that's your job, Phil Spencer. That's your job, Team Xbox. That's your job, Matt Booty, is figure out when you need to let your kid breathe and run and learn to fly and all that shit, and find out when you need to maybe step in and be there to help them out. And it just seems like they're all in this, like, stay out of it. They'll find their way. I get it. It's cool. It's cool to be that parent that tells a teenager, explore yourself, figure out who you are and what you want to be. But if your kid's fucking smoking pot under the bleachers during gym class, at some point you gotta be like, oh, okay, kid, let's figure out some priorities, okay? And right now, Xbox, you got a lot of kids doing blow in the girls' locker room during home economics, and it's just not working out. So I highly recommend you get these kids a fucking textbook, make them study for the upcoming math tests, because if they get a good grade, then they're going to get into a good college, and if they get into a good college, they're going to get more knowledge, and then they want to go to Jupiter, where they would end up being more stupider. And that is just my personal take on the whole matter. But you tell me, hey, there's a whole comment section, so you let me know what you think about it. So all right, goddamn, it's sad. It really fucking sucks. I hope there's an Arcane Austin like reconnaissance team that's like trying to get the band back together in doing something to like make good on this, because to have squandered that team over Redfall, and I say this again as someone who actually had a good time with Redfall, that's a little disappointing. All right, let's talk about Halo Infinite. Speaking of disappointments, VGC relayed some information from Halo Waypoint, which is that Halo Infinite's 4th season will introduce a new progression system to the game. That's right, if you've barely played Season 3 because the game's been such a fucking letdown, well, get ready for Season 4. According to a new blog post from Halo Waypoint, when Season 4 arrives on June 20th, it will be accompanied by a career rank, a new way for players to track their progress across all modes. Career rank will be similar to the progression system used in, Halo Reach, Halo the Master Chief Collections, all the Halos where this was established and worked well and people liked it, and we didn't have to deviate from it, but then we did anyway, though it's said to be most like the latter, the Master Chief Collection. Quote, to make progress through these new ranks, all you have to do is play, said senior communicator John, I never can say his name right, Junzek, on the blog. Whether you're jumping into your favorite playlist solo or squadding up with your friends, every complete matchmaking carries you forward. Additionally, career rank utilizes performance-based progression taken directly from your personal score each match. You better play, the better you play, the faster you'll rank up. Players start off as a recruit. As recruits, the only way to work through the 6 different tiers, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and onyx, before reaching the final title, hero. Each tier is split into a military-style ranks, which are split up into smaller increments called grades. Players' ranks will be available during match intros, on player profiles, and during post-game carnage reports. In general, in most places where you'll see a player's full nameplate banner or with their career rank, you will also see that be displayed. Career rank will not affect matchmaking in any way, and will not reset at the end of the season. It's meant to track your overall progress in Halo Infinite. Hey, this is great. This is what we wanted on day one back in November of 2021. Wouldn't that have been great? It's like an overall rank. It's like your level. It's like, hey, I'm level 173 because I played this game for so many goddamn hours that I just keep ranking up. It's great. It's what Call of Duty's had it forever. Halo used to have it. It's phenomenal. Right now on Modern Warfare 2, I'm like level 160 something because I just keep playing the game. I just keep leveling. On Halo Infinite, I don't know what rank I am. I've put like 60, 80, 90 hours into the game, and I don't know because they just do these weird season progressions. So this is great. I do wonder how they're going to make up for the retroactive, games that we've all played. Like, will the system have a way of looking at our gameplay history and being like, based on all the matches, you are rank blank, you're starting out at this rank? Or will it be like, congratulations on your 300th hour of Halo, introducing a new rank system, you're at rank 1, you know? It's really cool that they're doing this. I've been waiting for this. This would have helped keep me hooked in a little longer because I like this kind of stuff. I know people are like, well, gameplay's king. If the gameplay isn't enough to keep you hooked, then maybe you're not even playing a game for the right reason. I say bullshit to that. As someone who has been thoroughly addicted to many a Halo or Call of Duty game in my lifetime, we all know that part of the fun is the endorphins that pop off a feel good you get whenever it's like, new attachment unlocked, new level reached, new prestige, new thing. You know, it's like that's the fun of it. So when I play a Halo game and I see I'm not bronze, I'm not silver, I'm not gold, I'm platinum, I'm diamond. It's like, it's one of those like, fuck yeah, I earned that. And when I'm in a lobby and I'm the highest ranked person here, it doesn't mean I'm better than you. It just means, look at that, I logged more time. That's how much of a veteran I am of this game. It's a cool thing. It's fun. It's a thing that helps keep you engaged and keeps you emotionally invested in the game. And I really think it's silly when people try to downplay like, oh, well, don't hate on Halo for not having it. It's like, what really matters is whether or not the game's fun. It's like, well, yeah, of course it matters if the game's fun, but the other bells and whistles matter too. Otherwise, games wouldn't fucking have them in the first place. So I care about these things. I wish this was in the game back in November of 2021. Better late than never, but it is sad that it's like, so it took you like fucking 2 years to figure out how to put ranking in the game. But yeah, I mean, at least we get it. I'm sure we'll see more about Season 4 later. I wonder if Season 4 is going to be announced and revealed and shown at I almost said E3, at the Xbox Showcase on Sunday. Maybe. I could see that being the case, but goddamn, dude, like, I feel so guilty because I'm still like really into Modern Warfare 2. I did not expect to be into Modern Warfare 2 this long because generally I'm more of a Black Ops guy, but Modern Warfare 2 has kept me hooked since it came out at the end of October last year. And, you know, they just announced their Season 4 and it looks pretty good. And I'm still into that game. And I feel guilty because I'm just like, man, I always want Halo. I'm always craving Halo. I craved Halo Infinite for so long. It took so long to get it. Why am I not more invested in it? It's just, there's something about it. Like, the game just feels, it feels hollow. It just feels like it's not really there. And I still don't feel the desire to go back and play it, to be quite honest. I'm like, oh, that's great. Season 4, good for the people still playing it, I guess. But I don't know. I just feel so burnt by Halo right now. But I'm glad for those who are still really invested that this way overdue feature is finally there. But at the same time, I don't really blame 343 because, again, going back to it, Xbox so gravely fucked up the management of the studio that I can't blame 343 for this, really. I kind of blame Microsoft. Like, you guys you didn't manage the team or the project right, and so this is what you get. So congratulations, Season 4. You're bringing features that should have been with the game on day one. And also shout out to Season 4 for coming to the game two years later. Anyway, let's talk about Diablo 4, a game that's doing very well. Activision Blizzard has claimed that Diablo 4 is Blizzard's fastest selling game of all time. This has been based on pre-launch unit sales, which come in at record levels on both console and PC. So this is before the game's even out. They already have this information. But of course, now the game is out, they have probably better sales data. But yeah, already over 93 million hours of playtime have been recorded during just the early access period alone. So clearly this game is going to be fucking huge. And hey, speaking of Xbox, here's a quote from Mikey Barr who says, "Our vision at Blizzard is to create legendary experiences for all to share. Diablo 4 is an incredible realization of that vision." Come back to Xbox. We miss you. But yeah, shout out to Diablo for killing it there. We've got two more quick ones. Speaking of Call of Duty, Activision, Blizzard, Bobby Kotick. Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick has revealed that the company wanted to acquire Time Warner at one point. In an interview with Variety, Kotick said that Call of Duty maker was ready to swoop in and make a bid for Time Warner if AT&T had really been unable to complete the $85 billion acquisition of the media entertainment company. But despite significant oppositions from the U.S. government due to antitrust concerns, the deal eventually did go through in 2018. So, you know, fuck you, Activision. Quote, "We did take the IP and turn it into games. They take out IP and turn it into a film and television, and they have an extraordinary company," Kotick said. "We raised all the capital level and we're ready to go in the event that AT&T couldn't get the deal done. Time Warner's successor, Warner Bros. Discovery, has recently enjoyed a notable success in the games business, with Hogwarts Legacy becoming a $1 billion plus gaming franchise for them." So yeah, I'm sure Call of Duty or Activision rather are looking at that going, shit, that could have been our game. Hey man, I wonder how that would have gone, though, because if they had done that in 2018 and then Microsoft tried to acquire them last year, how would that? Because now you got Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and Batman and all that shit. It's like, how does that go when when Xbox is acquiring the publisher that has Call of Duty, Overwatch, Diablo, all that shit, in addition to all the WB properties as well? Obviously, I think a lot of Xbox fans would have been hyped about that because clearly, there was that rumor a couple of years back. It's like, oh, will Xbox buy the WB Games division? Imagine it. They got Spider-Man on PlayStation. We could have Batman, et cetera, et cetera. Think about, Mortal Kombat, all that shit. And it would have come full circle regardless had Activision acquired them, because now Microsoft's trying to acquire Activision. So, again, it just goes to show how every time Microsoft opens up their wallet, things come full circle. I mean, I'm waiting for them to buy Denny's because I'm sure it will make sense somehow. So, yeah, shout out to Xbox and their great deep pockets. Lastly, I don't know why this really doesn't belong here. I just wanted to throw it in there. Apple unveiled their long-anticipated mixed reality headset, the Apple Vision Pro. Announced during their Worldwide Developers Conference on Monday, the headset comes in at $3,500 US and is coming out in early 2024. Billed as Apple's first spatial computer, Vision Pro will be released in more countries later next year. Now, obviously, Apple is not really pushing this hard as like a gaming device, which is mostly how we've seen VR type devices, although this is clearly a VR/AR device. It's not just one, it's a fair bit of both. But yeah, we're used to seeing these devices mostly pushed as something that are for like industry type enterprise environments or a gaming device. And this is Apple trying to do what Apple does best and take something that, the tech has been around for a long time. Many a company have dabbled with it and done their own version of it. But now Apple is going to take it, do a really unique, personalized version of it, and make the mass market suddenly give a shit about its existence, even though everyone who's mildly into tech knows it's been around for a very, very long time. It's just now we have to care because Apple does it. I'll be honest, I see people totally shitting on this device. I think it looks pretty fucking cool. Oh, well, don't get me wrong. Any VR, AR headset looks fucking stupid. You look like an idiot wearing it, whether it's an Oculus, a Microsoft HoloLens, an Apple Vision. I don't care what it is. You look like an idiot. But in terms of what the device is capable of and their unique solutions to various things that other devices don't do or don't do well, I think this device looks fucking cool. This is why you don't have blind faith or fanboy allegiance towards any one company or anything, because it's stupid, first of all. And also because, yeah, who gives a shit if I have Android or whatever. Vision Pro looks cool. And I got to say, I'm a little bit jealous because Microsoft had HoloLens. I mean, HoloLens was announced, in 2015, I think it was, 2015? And we never really got that full consumer-level HoloLens that we had hoped for. And HoloLens 2 did eventually come out. It was very, very, very cool, and it was very much only for enterprise, and it really sucks that we just never got like a HoloLens 3 for consumers. I would have loved that, and this device kind of just reminds me, wow, wouldn't it be cool? And I don't know, maybe this thing takes off. If it does, I think it will obviously change the way VR, AR headsets, evolve. We'll see those two categories probably start to merge a whole lot, and then we'll also get to see VR as a gaming platform take off a little more and be legitimized more. Oculus is the only thing that's really been able to move the needle in that regard. A little bit PlayStation VR, but mostly Oculus. And I feel like Apple could help kind of move the needle as well. So that it'll be interesting to see what if this turns into anything. I understand it's expensive, but listen, man, people pay out the ass for a MacBook. People pay out the ass for an iPhone. People pay out the ass for an iPad. Apple Watches are pretty reasonably priced, but people will pay out the ass for anything Apple makes, okay? And that's not a criticism. I love Microsoft Surface, which is also vastly overpriced. I paid fucking $1,500 for a Surface Duo. I'm in no position to talk. But it's just one of those things. Like, I see people laughing about the product, laughing about the price. I don't know, man. Apple, ever since the iPhone first came out, or really ever since the iPod, Apple hasn't been able to put out a device that really didn't take off or get the world to stop what they're doing and just start worshiping at their feet. So I find it kind of hard to believe this device is going to come out and just be a fucking big old dud like some people are insinuating. But I don't know. I think it looks cool. I think it's interesting. It's got some really compelling ideas, some unique solutions. I'm a fan, and I want to see more of this shit. And yeah, shout out to Apple for having a really cool, unique approach to this market. And whether or not it works, I'm excited just to see people try new things. So shout out to Apple. guys, that's going to do it for all of our stories of small, mild amusement updates, things of that nature. With that all out of the way, we can get one step closer to our predictions for the Xbox Showcase. But before we jump into that, which is taking the place of our regular news segment, I first want to tell you about the games I've been playing this week. But before I can tell you about the games I've been playing this week, I got to tell you about what I've been eating with my face and my mouth at the same time. And it's the Everglazed Breakfast Burger, guys. So this past Sunday, we go to Disney Springs because there's an AMC theater there, and we're going to watch Spider-Man in, what is it, fucking Out of the Spider-Verse, Beyond the Spider-Verse, versus the Spider-Verse. I actually don't know the name of this movie because I didn't pay too much attention to the marketing leading up to it because I just knew I was going to watch it and I didn't care. Side note, that movie's fucking amazing. Probably the best movie I've seen this year. Maybe Suzumi is a little bit better. I don't know. It's Suzumi or Spider-Man, but this movie's so good. Please go watch it. Please watch it a million times. It's so fucking good. I love Miles Morales. Anyway, that as a side note, we're at Disney Springs. We're about an hour away from our movie starting, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to grab some breakfast. It's about 10:30 in the morning. I'm a little hungry. Let's do something before we go to the movie. So Everglazed over at Disney Springs is the local, it's like some local donut place that is at Disney. And it's it's like a donut shop. They got like cold brew coffee. It's cool. It's a little hip. They got the fake grass on the wall. They blast 2000s pop punk and radio music, and you get to hear the Killers When You Were Young in there. And so it's like a cool space. They got really over the top donuts. They got of course the donut with the fucking bacon bits on it. So they got all that shit going on. I like this place a lot. I actually really like their donuts. Their atmosphere is a little weak, but their donuts are great. Their coffee's great. I'm a big fan of this place. Everglazed Donuts. It's right next to the AMC, so we're waiting for our movie to begin. I'm like, let's go grab some coffee and maybe a breakfast sandwich or something. So normally when I go to this place for breakfast, I like to get their classic breakfast sandwich. It is just 2 eggs, 2 sunny side up eggs, 2 pieces of cheese, and a sweet bread bun. So it's kind of like an egg and cheese sandwich, like a bacon, egg, and cheese, but I get it without the bacon because I don't need bacon. I'm trying to be somewhat not terrible to my body. So I usually just get the egg and cheese, and it's so much cheese and so much egg anyway that you don't need any more fat. So normally I get this, and it's a great sandwich. It's like a sweet, fluffy, breakfasty kind of bun. It's almost like something between like a Hawaiian roll and a donut. It's like really delicious. So it's a sweet bun with 2 eggs and 2 pieces of cheese, and it's just a wonderful, fat, big old, delicious breakfast sandwich. I always go for it. But this day, I'm feeling like I should march to death, maybe just a little bit faster than usual. So I said, you know what, let's try something different on the menu. I noticed they have a breakfast burger rendition of this. It's the same thing, but instead of 2 eggs and 2 cheeses, it's 1 egg, 1 cheese, and a burger patty on that sweet bun bread thing. Now, the other thing I forgot to mention is you have the option of replacing the sweet bread with a donut as your bun. They'll just cut a donut, like a classic glazed donut, in half and use that as a burger bun or a sandwich bun. I've never done that because that to me is just a step too far. I don't think I could handle that. I'm sure it's delicious, but I haven't tried it. So I still skipped on that, but I did get the burger version. So I'm literally eating at 10 in the morning a breakfast cheeseburger with onion. It's just what is it? It's just like mayo, cheese, egg, and burger. I wish I had onions. That would make it way better. But anyway, this thing is fucking phenomenal. Oh my God. It's weird eating a burger patty with your morning coffee, but in this case of this sandwich, it worked, and I'm happy, and I felt like I became a better person. So if you want something that is greasy, delicious, large, filling, satisfying, moderately overpriced because you're at a theme park, then by God, if you're ever at Disney Springs, located as part of the Walt Disney World Resort here in Orlando, Florida, zip code 34 something. I don't actually know the zip code of Disney Springs, and I should. It's a Lake Buena Vista address. Now I feel like a fucking sham. I'm a fake Disney fan. Nobody loves me anymore because of it. And it's a beautiful place. If you're ever at the Disney Springs, shopping, dining, entertaining yourself by going to perhaps the Cirque du Soleil or the AMC movie theater, highly recommend you check out Everglazed. They have great donuts. The ube donut's the best one. It's the one made with the Filipino purple yam shit. It's so fucking good. But anyway, shout out to the breakfast burger. It got me in just the right mood to go watch 2.5 hours of animated Spider-Man that had me in tears. Shout out to Miles Morales, who is, shout out to that movie, dude. It is not easy living up to the love and in respect the world collectively has for Peter Parker, who is objectively the most relatable and lovable superhero in the world. Fuck you, Batman. But Miles Morales, it's impressive, dude, because between the video game and between this movie, I'm not gonna lie and pretend like I used to read the comics. I don't. I love Spider-Man. I'm a lifelong Spider-Man fan. I don't sit around reading Spider-Man comics all day. Never really have. But Miles Morales, dude, as someone who's like feels thoroughly introduced to him now that I played the games on PlayStation and I've seen these movies, I'd say he's just as lovable as Peter Parker, which is like an impossible feat. Like you would think that's impossible to do, but they do such a good job of making him like his own unique character, who is like just wholly independent of Peter Parker, but he's also relatable and lovable, and you're able to empathize with him for exactly the same reasons. But it feels completely new at the same time. It's so fucking good. I love this movie. If you don't like this movie, you're a stupid person. You have a stupid brain, and I don't love you. And also, your parents probably strongly considered putting you up for adoption at some point when you were very young, but you're just too young and stupid at the same time to remember that your parents had that conversation probably nightly, honestly. So that's just a fact of life. That's what I've been eating. And with that said, I think we're ready to get into what I've been playing this week, guys. Same 2 games as last week, but better now. In fact, Warhammer 40k Boltgun. This game's super good. I'm at the home stretch of it. I'd say I'm about 75% through the game. Really, really good shit. I don't have anything to add to this game. I'm just adoring it. I'm savoring it. And so what I decided to do, actually, is put the game on hold for a second, because it's one of those few rare games where I know that if I walk away from this game, I can come back to it at any time and I'll be just as addicted as where I left off, which is a very big compliment, because with most games, it's like, I like this game a lot, but if I put it down for too long, I'll get distracted and then I'll never come back to it. This is not one of those games. I know for a fact I could stop playing this game for a full month, come back, and I would be just as happy as where I was when I left off. But I intentionally put it down because I don't want to get distracted from the second game I've been playing this week, which is the game I've been playing more so this past week. Which side note, I haven't been playing games a whole lot this past week because just buying a house makes you so anxious and takes up so much time that you just want to curl up in a ball and cry. But when I have been playing games this week, I'm about 4 hours deep into Alan Wake, which I tried to start last week. I did start this week. And another funny thing, I'm sure everyone can relate to this with gaming, where there's like a game where I think I like this game. You give it a go, you download it, whatever it is, you boot it up, and you're like, it's not clicking with me. I don't know. Maybe this game isn't for me. And then you move on and you never, whatever. A year goes by, 2 years go by, whatever. And then you just have some weird inclination to just go back and give it a second chance. And when you do it, it's like, I was on crack cocaine last time I played this game, because now I love this game. Everything that didn't work for me before is now my favorite thing in the world. In fact, I'm an Alan Wake stan, and I'm actually going to dye my hair black just so I can feel a little closer to the character. And that's how I feel playing Alan Wake. I don't know what the fuck happened. I think it was a year ago when I tried to play this game. I got like an hour into the game, and I was like, it's good. It feels like a Remedy game. I love Remedy. I've always been ashamed that I never played this game. I'm ready to play Alan Wake, but for some reason it's not clicking with me. This time, just fucking love Alan Wake. I don't know what I was smoking last time. I am so into this game. Alan Wake is phenomenal. I gotta be honest, I'm only about halfway through the game, but I already think this game might be just as good. I probably don't like it as much as Quantum Break, but I think I like it more than Control, but maybe that's just because Control is so mature in terms of like its ideas and what it tackles that it hurts my tiny brain. But I don't know, man. This game to me is just, it's eerie, it's ominous, but not necessarily scary. But it's absolutely like fitting within the horror genre, and it feels like a really good Halloween game. And I'm always looking for a good Halloween game to play. And it's just, God, its setting and its tone are just so on point, and it's got that awesome Remedy thing where it's just like, I feel like I'm watching a goddamn movie. I don't even feel like I'm playing a game. It's like, this is why, and if you listen to the show for a long time, you know I've made this argument many times. This is why I think Remedy is better at what Naughty Dog does with Uncharted and The Last of Us than Naughty Dog is. This is why I think Remedy is better at this third-person action, narrative-driven, single-player, intimate, story-driven experience. This is why I think they're better at that than fucking Sony Santa Monica and the Coalition with Gears of War. This is what I really think Remedy is the best team at this. And I understand it's like kind of a hot take and people probably don't agree with it for the most part, but I really do believe Remedy Entertainment is the best developer when it comes to these single-player, deeply narrative-driven, cinematic experiences, because not only does Remedy do a really good job of making these characters just insanely convincing and compelling, these worlds interesting, and the story's great, but there's also so gameplay focused at the exact same time that you don't feel that weird feeling you play when you play like a Last of Us or an Uncharted, where it's like, this is like a really solid game with a phenomenal story on top of it. Instead, you feel like this is a really phenomenal game with a really phenomenal story married together. And that, like, I don't know, man. And that's not to shit on PlayStation or anything. I just don't give any Xbox examples because Xbox really doesn't have a whole lot of games like this, which, as a side note, is why Xbox are fucking stupid for not buying Remedy Entertainment when they probably definitely had the chance, because this would have been the best first party you could have fucking bought. But that's beside the point. I love these guys. Their games are so fun, but their characters and their writing and their stories are so good. Now, I gotta be honest. You could feel the Europeanness when you play a Remedy game. So the writing isn't like perfect Hollywood cinema kind of level of just really well written, but the immersion is so great and the writing is good enough that you quickly get over the Europeanness of it, the IKEA-ness of these games, and you're able to just be like, I don't care. I'm convinced. I'm engrossed. I'm attached to the characters. I'm invested. And I don't know. I didn't realize how much Quantum Break kind of builds off of Alan Wake. Not in terms of its narrative being tied to it, but more so in terms of Quantum Break does that TV thing where it's like literally trying to be a TV show and a video game at the same time. Alan Wake, I didn't realize, had a little bit of that. They were dabbling with those ideas a little bit with Alan Wake. Like they have like this knockoff version of the Twilight Zone TV show, and you can like walk into cabins and just there'll be a random episode on, and they take this time to film these actual live action shows and have these new newscasts on these radios and do all this kind of like TV and entertainment and content that's just pushed into the crevices and corners of the game all throughout. And it's so easy to just stop what you're doing and be like, yeah, I know I'm like following the objective, but I'm going to stop real quick and just sit down in this cabin and just watch this small black and white TV that's all staticky, because they made this random ass side content that's actually like super engrossing and compelling. It's just as good as the actual game. And it's just, I love that shit so much. The gameplay mechanic for this game is super unique. The whole like shining the flashlight on them and then shooting them, but you can damage them with the flashlight and you can use light to your advantage, but you can also use like other, I don't know. It's like, it's combat, but it's also defense. And it's like a little bit of both. And you don't always have to kill to get around the enemies. And I love it. It's stressful. It's a little bit of that resource management, but you also kind of feel powerful and like you can kill things if that's the way you need to get through scenarios. So you can kind of play the game the way you want a little bit while it's also being rather linear. So it's not like every modern game where it's trying to get you to expand your open, vast arsenal of tools in this excellent open world where you can traverse with fucking planes, trains, and automobiles. It's like, I don't need that shit. The game's just, it's straightforward. It's linear as hell, but it also allows you to kind of approach scenarios sometimes in the way you want, and it has a really unique combat mechanic, and it has a deeply compelling cast of characters that are just really unique to gaming. I mean, you play it, I love that. I love the idea of like you play as someone who is not a conventional video game archetype. He's not a soldier, he's not some trained guy with a gun that really knows what he's doing. You play as a fucking lame ass fucking author who writes scary books. You play as like a B tier Stephen King, who gets fucking, your wife gets freaking kidnapped by some monster ghost ominous force, and you're trying to like find her and rescue her without the cops thinking you're a fucking crazy person. And it's cool. It's a really fucking cool game. I'm playing the remastered version of the game because it was on sale for like $10 a couple of weeks ago. And it's not like an amazing remaster. The game definitely looks better than the 360 version looks, but I don't feel like, oh my God, this is just stunning the way they did it. So if you've never played this game, the regular 360 version is on Game Pass. I recommend you just play it that way, because the original version was published and funded by Xbox Game Studios, and then Microsoft stupidly let this team go, and they even sold them the IP rights to Alan Wake back a few years ago, and then Remedy went with Epic Games, signed a big deal. Epic Games is publishing like a bunch of their games. One of their games was a re-release of Alan Wake, and so this remaster's re-release of Alan Wake is not published by Microsoft, it's published by Epic, and so got just absolute big major fucking L for Microsoft. I understand it's like, Remedy doesn't have massive system selling, like, oh my god, stop what you're doing, everyone's playing Alan Wake, everyone's playing Quantum Break, everyone's playing Control. I understand they don't make games of that caliber for whatever reason, but it's not because the games aren't good enough to be that kind of game. It's because simply everybody else who plays and consumes video games are just too fucking stupid and useless as human beings to appreciate how phenomenal these games are. I'm talking about, fucking Max Payne 1 and 2, phenomenal. Alan Wake, so far, phenomenal. Quantum Break, probably the best game on the Xbox One. It's Quantum Break, Halo 5, and Sunset Overdrive. Those are the 3 best Xbox One games. Fight me, you idiot. And then Control, which is probably my least favorite Remedy game, but I say it's my least favorite with the understanding that I think the game's like a 9 out of 10. I absolutely love it. It's a very, very, very good game. I highly recommend it. Like, they don't make anything that is less than excellent. Shut up if you're laughing about the Crossfire X campaign. We're not getting into that. But shout out to Alan Wake. Shame on me for taking so goddamn long to getting around to this game. And I started playing this because the Alan Wake 2 trailer just looked so freaking good. It's rare that a game trailer gets me that hyped about a game, especially that it wasn't really like super looking at. But man, now that Redfall is out and it is what it is, and Atomic Heart already came and went and is what it is, I gotta be honest, I think Alan Wake 2 is probably my most anticipated game of the year. Looking forward, I don't know what I'm really looking forward to this year left on Xbox other than Starfield, Alan Wake 2, and whatever the next Call of Duty game is. Obviously we're not getting Spider-Man, so that's the big game that we're not going to get. And then obviously it's been a great year, Zelda and Diablo and all that shit. But as far as like what I'm personally really looking forward to, I think Alan Wake 2 is probably my next big one because I'm loving Alan Wake. Alan Wake 2, from what we're seeing in the trailers, looks like a really, really compelling evolution of this game's formula. It looks like it's leaning more and more into that horror element, which I'm looking forward to trying. It looks like it's Alan Wake 1 mixed with a little bit of Resident Evil, and I'm just like, fuck yeah, let's do it. So super hyped about that. Shout out to Remedy, one of the great developers of all time. I would say Remedy, Insomniac, Bungie, Obsidian might be up there. Although not personally, just in general. I don't know, man. They're just one of those developers. I think they can do no wrong. Everything they touch turns to gold, but it's a European tinted gold. So please make sure you get your shots before you touch it. All right, guys, that's it for what I've been playing this week. Now we can get into the news, which this week, of course, is the Xbox Showcase predictions. Long awaited. We're an hour and a half in almost. Oh my God, let's just get into it. All right, you guys. So let's jump into the predictions. A couple weeks I've been teasing this now. Finally, we get into it. I'm excited. I should say, just a tease, since we are talking about the game showcase. Next week's podcast will probably go up a couple days early. Obviously, it goes live every Thursday generally, but because of the showcase being on Sunday, I'll probably be recording shortly after the showcase ends, and it will go live Monday. So this week's podcast, obviously, if you're listening to it now, it went live on Thursday, regular time. Next week's podcast, you're probably getting it a couple days early on Monday instead of Thursday. But that's just because why wait? Let's get it out there. And then, from then on out, we'll be back to normal schedule. So I guess next week's episode, you'll get a little early. And then the week after that, you'll have to wait a little extra longer since that episode went out early. It'll be a longer gap between episodes, but who gives a shit? We're just excited to talk about all this showcase and news. I'm super hyped. Not only that, but again, last reminder, if you're interested, Sunday, 1 o'clock, I will be streaming the Xbox Showcase from my Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/lightningmcstream. So if you want to hang out, watch the stream with us, chat it up, be amazed, disappointed, surprised, hurt, excited, aroused, all together, head on over to twitch.tv/lightningmcstream. Should be a good time. That's 1 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday, June 11th. Guys, let's get into our predictions. So here's how it works. I wrote a bunch of predictions. I don't even know how many I have here, maybe about 15, 20 predictions. And then I solicited some predictions from you guys, and y'all have been writing them for the past 2 weeks. So we got about, 7 or 8 of them from you guys here. So we'll go through mine, we'll go through yours, and we'll talk in between and cherry pick and discuss whatever. And it should be a fun time. I should say, I wrote most of these predictions last week, and then when I was doing the podcast notes this week, I accidentally deleted them. Didn't notice I had deleted them until I had completely changed the Microsoft OneNote document I use for the podcast notes and written all over it with new information, new notes, everything. So there was no way to go back and retrieve my old predictions from that I'd wrote a week ago. So basically, I had to try and remember some of those predictions and then come up with a whole list of new ones. So yeah, I feel like there's some special sauce missing because there were some really good ones in that last batch, but I just couldn't remember them all, and I had to come up with some new ones. So the idea about these predictions, I'm not trying to be super serious about them. So some of them I think are legitimate predictions, but some of them are so obvious. So I try to like throw a little kink in them and try to spice them up with some added flair. And then some of them are just ridiculous, outlandish predictions just to kind of make it fun. So I think it should be a fun exercise to get us in the spirit, in the mood, excited for the showcase, while also getting us, the creative juices flowing, getting us thinking and wondering about what things we might see or hear during June 11th's showcase event. So without further ado, let's get into my first showcase. And there's no particular order. There's just a hodgepodge. My first prediction is that at some point, Phil Spencer is going to have some kind of monologue where he will mention something about players being at the center of it all, whether he says putting players at the center of gaming or at the center of Xbox, it's all about the player, or we want to put players at the center of our ecosystem. Whatever the hell he says, Phil Spencer will mention something to the effect, and maybe it will be Sarah Bond or someone like that, but Phil Spencer is going to mention something about players being at the center of it all. That's my first prediction. Pretty safe bet. I feel like he always says something like that. So there's the first one there. A little warm up. They'll get spicier, trust me. But that is my first prediction. My second prediction, let's talk about Halo. This is the only time Halo is going to pop up on this list. So let's just get it out of the way. I put Halo continues to be absent and break all of our hearts. I'll put a little bit of our vision on this. I think, like I said earlier in the show, there is a slight chance that maybe we get a Halo Infinite Season 4 like reel that shows like the new maps and the new content, whatever. That's fine. I don't care. But I mean, there's not going to be like a new Halo game announced or a new spin-off announced or some substantial note or like some apology about the way Xbox completely fucked up Halo and mismanaged the whole development cycle of Halo or Infinite or anything like that. We're not getting anything like that. It's just going to be, I think, mostly a pretty Halo absent event. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we definitely don't see Halo, no Season 4 update or anything, just because they want to kind of keep Halo in the distance from all the new stuff they're doing, just to keep kind of the hype centered around the exciting fun stuff that they haven't fucked up rather than on all the stuff that they dropped the ball on. So that's it for Halo. Let's talk about a game no doubt we'll see, which is State of Decay 3. So I put State of Decay 3 will be shown with a full gameplay reveal in a target release year, but no specific date. I also said State of Decay 3 will surprise by revealing itself to be a dating sim, no kink shaming in parentheses. So State of Decay 3, we'll get a gameplay reveal. We'll get a vague release date, not a specific one. So probably just like 2024 or something like that. Maybe spring 2024. And then, it's going to be a dating game, and there's going to be no kink shaming. So, if you dating zombies is your thing, no judgment. State of Decay 3 has got you covered. It's going to be the game just for you. I am really excited to see State of Decay. All joking aside, I am really excited to see State of Decay 3 in action because I feel like they've had enough swings at this franchise, and Undead Labs now has enough time, money, resources, and everything to stop being that like independent third-party game for Xbox or independent second-party game for Xbox and start being that super high-quality AAA first-party game for Xbox. I feel like this could be, kind of like if you follow the PlayStation event, they had Helldivers 2. The first Helldivers was a top-down twin-stick shooter, kind of like Destiny-style game. But now the new one's going to be like over-the-shoulder, third-person, fully like next-gen AAA looking. Like I want to see that kind of reveal happen for State of Decay 3 where it doesn't look janky, the mocap is there, and it looks super state-of-the-art and like a really well-detailed next-gen, boundary-pushing, open-world experience. They've beefed up the staff at Undead Labs. They've hired many more people. They've got the game looking and running like absolute magic. I feel like that's what State of Decay 3 really needs to do. And then maybe just try to streamline a little bit of what the game's about, because I feel like it's a little convoluted and a little unwelcoming, I feel like, to outsiders, where the game's just not very focused on what it is. And sometimes it can be a little hard for newcomers to come to it. So I feel like State of Decay 3 has a real opportunity here to kind of reestablish itself in a way be a great jumping on point for new players, and I hope that's kind of what we see here. But State of Decay 3, I'm thinking we'll see it. There's no doubt. It's been too long. We got to see it. Speaking of games that we got to see, I think we'll see. Yeah, I think Contraband, same thing. We'll get a gameplay trailer. We'll finally see it in action. We'll see what the game actually is, not just some fucking sizzle reel of desks with maps on them. And we'll see the game running in action with 4-player co-op or whatever it is, 2-player co-op, 4-player co-op, the heist missions, whatever it's supposed to be. And we will probably get a vague release date. This one in particular, I don't think we'll get a solid release date. I think we'll just get a 2024 is what they're going to slap on it. I think 2024 is going to be a big year for Xbox. I think they're going to try to get a handful of these games that we've been talking about for a few years out the door next year. So that's my prediction for Contraband. I also put, maybe this is just a subconscious nod to that awesome looking heist game that they announced at the Game Awards a few months back, but I also said in parentheses, the game will have a weirdly star-studded cast that they will tout during the trailer. So I don't know, maybe they got like fucking Robert De Niro or some shit as like the Godfather, and you got to take missions from him and go rob banks or something like that. But that is my prediction for Contraband, second-party exclusive game for Xbox from Avalanche. Not the guys making Harry Potter, but the guys that make Mad Max. And my next one, and this is kind of like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like in a row, like all the games that we've been waiting to see. This is why I think, and I should clarify, overall, I think this is going to be a strong event. I think this event is going to be, at the very least, the best event since 2020. It's going to have lots of gameplay, lots of tentative release dates or specific release dates. I think we're going to get a lot of looks at games we've been waiting to see. So I have high expectations for this show overall. I really think Xbox has a we can't fuck it up mentality. They just know, like last year they just had no games. This year they have games, but it's a little up and down, hit or miss. And I just think they know like this event has got to hit because next year's got to be a huge year for them. So that is why I think the next game we will see is Perfect Dark, the Initiative / Crystal Dynamics co-developed reimagining of the Perfect Dark series will be shown off. We will get to see Joanna Dark running around this, what I assume will look something like Deus Ex meets Lara Croft kind of third-person action world, and it will look kind of fucking badass, and we will be like, okay, this isn't necessarily the game I needed to see Xbox bring back, but I'm down for it. This game looks pretty cool. Perfect Dark, I'm really excited to see this because even though I don't necessarily think this is going to be a game that's going to be like, oh my god, my most hyped game, I do think this game has potential to be something special. Again, the whole purpose of the Initiative, I know every Xbox person out there likes to walk it back and pretend like this was never supposed to be like that big a deal of a studio, or they were going to be like this flexible, customizable, whatever. They were trying to poach the best talent from Sony by putting themselves in Santa Monica. They were trying to be the competitor to like Naughty Dog or Sony Santa Monica Studios or something like that, and ended up just making a fucking reboot of a game that nobody misses. So I think there's a lot of potential for Perfect Dark to be a very cool game, but they have a lot to prove in order for that to be true. So I'm very eager to see Perfect Dark. I'm not going to say I'm very excited because I think the game's going to be awesome. I'm saying I'm very curious to see what the game actually looks like, to see what they're going to do with this IP, because even though I have a soft spot for Perfect Dark, I actually really like Perfect Dark Zero, the Xbox 360 launch game. I know it's not really all that great, but I just have a special soft spot for it. So I want to see what they can do with this game. I don't know why I keep thinking it's going to be a third-person action game. It very well could be a first-person shooter. After all, the series is traditionally first-person. But for some reason, I just keep thinking it's going to be third-person. Kind of like, I don't know, I'm picturing like Splinter Cell Conviction or something like that. I don't know. But Perfect Dark's going to be shown. We're going to get a gameplay demo, and we might even, and we'll get a vague release window. Again, I think they'll try to make this their big fall 2024 game. So this year we got Starfield. I think next year they're going to shoot for Perfect Dark. So that is my prediction for Perfect Dark. And you know, to put a twist on it, because I don't want to just talk about nothing, I think Perfect Dark, and so far, like, this is a big one. Like, we got State of Decay 3, Contraband, and Perfect Dark all going in 2024. I think that's the idea. Actually, no, you know what I think? I take it back. Perfect Dark is going to be the 2025 game. It's going to be spring 2025 because there's a different game that's going to be their fall 2024. Okay, all right, revision. Perfect Dark, everything I said before is still true, but now it's the spring or summer 2025 game. It is not a fall 2024 game. So they're going to show a gameplay look at Perfect Dark, and then the end of the trailer is just going to say 2025. Nothing specific. and then we'll see it more next year, and we'll get a specific date. That's what I'm thinking. And then just to kind of throw a wrench in it all and just to really spice it up, I think Joanna Dark is going to have an earpiece the whole game, and she's going to have like a man in the chair type figure that's going to be talking to her or walking her through. Joanna, go down the hall, go to the door to the left, use the keypad. You're going to have to watch out for lasers in the next room. Joanna, like that kind of like guy talking in her ear throughout the whole game. And my guess for it is that they're going to cast none other than Danny DeVito to be the guy in the chair, be the guy talking to Joanna Dark the whole time. Joanna, can I offer you an egg in these trying times? He's going to try to like give you an egg, and you're going to be trying to like focus on the mission. A little busy here, Frank. I'm being shot at. He's going to be Frank from Always Sunny in Philadelphia for some reason. And it's going to be funny, and we're all going to laugh and have a great time. And Danny DeVito is going to be talking in her ears, and he's going to be talking about hanging out under the bridge and eating fucking, eating the crabs from the pier or whatever. It's going to be great. So that's Perfect Dark. That's my prediction. 2025, but we'll get a little gameplay teaser. I'm excited to see. I'm really curious. I just want to see what the fuck that game is. All right, the next one. This is the game that's going to be dated as fall 2024. They're not going to put a specific date on it. Maybe they do. Maybe they say November 2024. I don't know. But this is going to be dated for the latter half of 2024 without a date, without a doubt, with a date without a doubt. And we're finally going to see a gameplay reveal. Obviously, this is the one that most people are excited for. It is the next big Xbox game to talk about after Starfield. This is what's up on the roster, and it is, of course, Playground Games' Fable. We already know for a fact this game's going to be there, and when I say for a fact, they're teasing Fable. Like, literally, the little trailer they released last week showed the little fairy dust all around the controller leading up to the TV. They're clearly teasing Fable. This is it. The rumors, the reports have suggested for a while that Playground Games has been pushing Microsoft off because they've been trying to show the game for a while, and now is going to be the time they're going to say, hey, Halo's done, it flopped. Redfall's done, it flopped. Starfield's on the way out in just a few months. God, hoping it doesn't flop. Next up, we need something. Fable, you are up. Let's fucking go. I'm so excited to see what the guys that make the best car game in the industry are able to do with this fantasy single-player open world RPG, because it just makes no sense that these guys are able to do this. But shout out to Playground Games. They're such a talented developer. I really admire the hell of these folks. That's right. I can be nice to the Brits sometimes. But yeah, Playground Games, such a talented developer, such a capable developer. And I believe it. I believe that there is some like weird, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, there is just this autistic energy within Playground Games. I truly believe it, that the developers there can tap into their deeply seated European roots and pull out that charming British humor and wit that, the original Fable is so beloved for, and put it into this reboot and have that original Fable feel and charm, but in a new and exciting and creative way. I really truly believe they're going to be able to pull that off, and I'm excited to see an Xbox studio have one of these moments that you occasionally see teams do, where it's like, wow, I would have never expected the team behind this to be able to make this, kind of like, like Guerrilla Games went from making Killzone to making Horizon, right? So it's just one of those things. Like, I want to see the guys that make Ratchet and Clank make freaking what's it called, Resistance, So I feel like this is going to be one of those things. We're going to see the guys that make Forza Horizon make Fable, and I think it's going to be awesome. I think this is obviously going to be the big showstopper. Obviously, there's Starfield. Starfield will be there. Starfield will get a specific release date. We know all that. But the thing is, Starfield's not exciting in the sense that, like, I wonder if they'll show Starfield gameplay, or I'm excited to see if Starfield's going to have a date. It's like, we know those things. So we're excited to learn what that date is. We're excited to see what that gameplay looks like, but we're not excited to see if it's going to have gameplay or if it's going to have a date, because that's a given. So Fable is exciting because this is the first time we're going to see the game running. This is the first time we're going to have them try to give us an idea of when we might play the game. And for that, oh man, Fable, so exciting, so exciting, so exciting. Yeah, I just think that's going to be obviously the show stealer, the stealing of the show. So this next one, I am not so confident about, actually. This one is going to be in the category of 50-50. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. If it weren't for the fact that there's a new Indiana Jones movie coming out in a couple of weeks, I would say this actually is not going to be at the show. But because there's this new Indiana Jones movie coming out and there is an opportunity for some cross promotional, synergistic kind of marketing here, I feel like we might get some look at this Indiana Jones game that Machine Games is working on. It might be revealed in some capacity in order to capitalize on the new movie to hype it up. This could be the game that we don't get gameplay of, but we get in-engine footage that I was talking about at the top of the show. I could see that being the case. So my guess, this Machine Guns Indiana Jones will be shown off, and it will be titled the way in the same structure in which the movies are titled. So it'll be called Indiana Jones and the Blank of Blank. So it'll be called, I don't know, the new movie's called Dial of Destiny, which I think is just such a stupid name, but I'm excited to see the movie as a side note. But I mean, I don't know, with a name that silly, I feel like the sky is the limit. Indiana Jones and the Viagra pill of Adolf Hitler. Like, I don't know, the Viagra case of Adolf Hitler. I want to see it. I'm so curious about what Machine Games is going to do. We know obviously there's such a great fit for making games about fighting Nazis, but they make such over-the-top, bloody, gory, action, first-person shooter, satisfying, violent games. Indiana Jones is not that. Indiana Jones is going to be third-person, a little bit of platforming and scaling, and maybe a little bit of light gunplay with a pistol or something, but melee combat and a whip and some swinging and stuff like that. And it's violent, but not like Johnny, cover your eyes, you're only 13 violent, you know? So I don't know. It's going to be, in some ways it's a perfect fit for them, but in some ways it's like, can they really do a more subdued, toned down game about fighting Nazis? And I'm excited to see what Machine Games is. So for some reason, I'm a little more dubious of Machine Games going from a World War II game about fighting Nazis to an Indiana Jones game about fighting Nazis. I'm a little more apprehensive about their ability to do that than I am about a racing studio's ability to make a fantasy open world RPG, whimsical RPG. So I don't know what's wrong with me that I feel that way, but I feel like there's a chance we see Indiana Jones. It's kind of a 50-50 again, but it's just with the new movie coming out, it's like, I don't know, there's an opportunity here, so why not? Let's see it, Indy. Let's do it. Show us the destiny of your armpits or whatever the fuck it's going to be called. Next up, I think also in that 50-50 category, speaking of like Machine Games, these Bethesda studios, id Software. We finally is id Software going to do something? Doom 2016 came out obviously in 2016, and then Doom Eternal came out in 2020. That was 3 years late. That was 4 years later. So, you know, by that same logic, 2020 was 3 years ago. So they should be able to reveal the next thing they're working on, whether it comes out, you know, in 2024, 2025. I feel like they should be ready to at least announce what it is they're working on. And this could be one of those in-engine trailers. You know, maybe we don't get gameplay reveal, but the rumor is they're working on some kind of like Quake or something like that. And it'd be cool to get a reveal for it this time. So I don't know. Maybe there's a 50-50 chance, but maybe we see id Software at this show. All right. This is another one that I'm going to put in the it could happen category, but it's not a guarantee. The next one's a guarantee, but this one I'm about to go through, it could happen, but it's not a guarantee, which is that someone, probably Phil Spencer, maybe it's Matt Booty, maybe it's Sarah Bond, but probably Phil Spencer, is going to have this really weird, because I'm assuming obviously the event is going to be pre-recorded and all that. I'd rather it be in person, but you know, like in front of a live audience, but I think it's going to be pre-recorded. But it'd be, I just feel like there's going to be this really weird, maybe it's at the beginning or the middle or the end. I don't know where they could fit it. I feel like it might be like a towards the end, but not the end thing, where Phil Spencer's going to have some really weird chopped in apology or something, where they don't necessarily say, hey, we're sorry about Halo and Redfall and just how things have been lately, but they kind of beat around it by saying like, hey, we just want to instill a confidence. We want to reinforce our vision for the gamer, you know, for the player. This is where we see our brand. This is what our intentions are. We never mean for something to happen. The last few years have been turbulent and things have happened that were out of our control, but we want to instill a sense of confidence in our gamers that we're going to make the best games, the most groundbreaking games, the highest quality games, and that going forward we're dedicated to making Xbox the best place to play games, period. I feel like there could be some kind of weird, shoehorned, awkward, not fully addressing the elephant in the room, but kind of apologizing for the shit that's been going on lately, kind of message snuck in somewhere here. So maybe towards the end a little bit, but yeah, that could be one of them, and I'm going to put that in the it could happen category. But next up, I think is a guaranteed, oh, this is happening, just like was the case with Perfect Dark and State of Decay and Contraband, and that is Hellblade 2 is going to get a full, proper, extended gameplay, in-depth look, and a specific release date to boot. So we're not getting a vague date. We're getting a very specific release date sometime next year, probably spring or summer 2024, and a very extensive release gameplay look. Actually, maybe a little later in 2024. I don't know. But Hellblade 2, remember, this is the game they used to announce the Xbox Series X back in 2019. The announcement of this game it's almost been 4 years since it. So, if Hellblade 2 is not at this showcase with gameplay, I will eat 2 scoops of my cat's litter. Dirty litter. I swear to God. Hellblade 2 will be there. We will get gameplay and we will get a release date. Whether they delay that release date because everything gets delayed these days, I don't know. But we'll see Hellblade 2. It's been way too damn long. I think of all the games Xbox has announced currently, this is the one that's the most inexcusable, the most where the fuck is it? So Hellblade 2. And now you start to think about it, it's like, well, you could really imagine a world where Hellblade 2, Fable, Contraband, State of Decay 3, like all coming out next year. Like we're starting to have a pretty crowded 2024 already. So this is good. My next prediction is about the Xbox Series X version X. This is the Xbox One X, the mid console generation refresh with a slightly upgraded version. Although I think we will get one of these probably the next year or so, I do not think it will be shown at this event. Strong rumors suggested that PlayStation was going to show it at their event, their version of it, their PlayStation 5 Pro or whatever it would be called, and then they didn't show it. I think Xbox is going to do the same thing, and they're not going to show it because I really think it's just the economy is getting into a really shitty state right now. Not a great time to release new hardware. The first 2 years of the Xbox Series X and S was just the story of, I can't find it. It's not in stores. It's sold out. We're just now getting to a comfortable place where people can find these consoles and buy these consoles. So it's kind of a slap across the face to these players of like, what the fuck? I finally got a Series X and you're already releasing a more powerful one. And then on top of that, I don't think Xbox, and this is the biggest one for me because I could still see Xbox revealing the console despite all those other factors. But here's the one that gets me is, I don't think Xbox has done enough this console generation so far when it comes to first-party output to justify putting out a new console. Halo Infinite, you fucked it up. Redfall, you fucked it up. A couple small games here like Grounded and Pentiment. I mean, Forza Horizon 5 is probably the best thing they put out. It's like they've really botched this generation so far. It's so much potential, and they just haven't been able to really capture it yet and convert it into excellent games for people to play. So my guess is that they just can't justify it yet. But if they are going to show it, it will be shown alongside Starfield. That is my prediction. If they do show it, but I think they won't show it. My next prediction, and there's a couple of these that are just off-the-rails predictions, and I'm just going to go ahead and throw it in there. This is an off-the-rails prediction, and it is that Kinect 3 will be announced, and Xbox is reintroducing / bringing back the Snap feature. That is it. We will have a Kinect 3. You can connect it to your Xbox Series X, and you can go Xbox Snap, and it's going to go boop, and you're going to have Hulu playing on 1/3 of your screen in the corner, and you're going to have Call of Duty on the other 3/4 of your screen or 2/3 of your screen or whatever, and you're going to be gaming and watching at the same damn time. You can watch MLB on one side of the screen while playing fucking Gears of War Tactics on the other side, and your mom's gonna walk in the screen saying, "Son, that's too many games playing at the same time. You're doing too many things." And you're gonna say, "Mom, I'm Gen Z. This is the only way to keep my fucking brain stimulated. I have to have an iPad, an iPhone, and a snapped Xbox in order to be stimulated at any given time. It's no wonder I can't pay attention to math class." And then she's gonna walk out of the room crying, wishing that you were born 20 years sooner, because then maybe you'd amount to something. And that is what I think is going to happen. They're going to get Connect 3. Connectimals is coming back, baby. Where's Milo? Invite that little fucking sick-looking bastard into the show. I'm ready for it. I miss the weird Xbox that did weird experimental shit, and I welcome him back with open arms. I think those Xbox players that don't like this are not real Xbox fans. In fact, I don't even think they're real people. I think if you peel their skin off, you will see it's just a bunch of maggots stacked on top of each other in the form of a human being. So, Connect 3, let's bring it on, and that is my first outlandish prediction of the showcase. My next prediction. So if that prediction was like, "Oh, Jesse, you're just being silly. There's no chance in hell. Stop being cute." If that was what that prediction is, this next prediction is just absolutely, without a doubt, guaranteed to happen. It is so mild. It is so unassuming. It is so boring. It is so insanely guaranteed that if this doesn't happen, I will eat my cat's litter and then throw it up and then eat it again, because this is absolutely going to happen. And this prediction is that we will get a deluge of updates to games that have been out for many, many years that nobody wants to hear about, that nobody is hyped about, that is just an absolute waste of our time. I'm talking about Season 12 of Sea of Thieves, Elder Scrolls Online, Elder Ring, Fallout 76, Vault 74, Flight Simulator, Top Gun Maverick, Ultimate Edition, Reskin Edition, Godzilla included, Grounded, Grounded for 2 months, Update Edition with Arachnophobic, Intesticidal, Testicular Fortitude Edition, and et cetera, you know. So I feel like this is an absolute given. We're going to get all these updates. Hey, and that's no slight to these games, you know. In fact, Halo Infinite Season 4 even kind of falls under this update list as well a little bit, where it's like, listen, I like Sea of Thieves. I like Fallout 76. I've always wanted to try Flight Sim, but I've never gotten around to it. I like Grounded. No disrespect to these games, but when we're at an event like this, when we're watching a showcase like this, we want to see the new, baby. I don't give a shit that you can make bases in Fallout 76. I don't give a shit how many robots you can deactivate and then reprogram to be your sex slaves. I don't care about any of that shit. I want fucking new games with really high definition cheeseburgers that are so detailed that they make me want to run out to the store and make my own cheeseburgers. I don't want to see an update for a game I've already put 150 hours in. So that is a prediction. You can take that to the bank. I ain't eating no kitty puke, throw up, litter for making that prediction, because there's no chance in hell that's not going to happen. It's just going to happen. So, all right. My next prediction is one that I'm not as confident about. I'm about 85% confident on this one, so pretty confident. But oh man, I don't want it. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope by against all odds this doesn't happen. But this prediction is that we will be forced to endure another Vin Diesel cinematic trailer for Arc 2. And I don't want to sit on this and dwell on it because it makes me sick just thinking about it. But for love of God, please don't show us another Vin Diesel Arc 2 trailer. I think it might happen. All right, speaking of things I would like to see, I think we should carry on with the tradition of E3 whenever a new Forza Motorsport is announced. And they should bring a car on stage. I think they should have, whether it's a video or whatever the case may be, they should have a segment where someone prominent at Xbox is standing next to the car that is on the cover of the new Forza Motorsport game. So we know Forza's coming out this fall, one of the big fall releases for Xbox. Let's see a fucking car on stage. Make it like the old days again. They don't make them like they used to anymore. Buy American only, you know what I'm saying? I think we need to see the Forza car on stage again. It will make it feel like good old times. So that's my prediction for Forza. Next up, I love how Forza is actually coming out this year, and my only prediction is that they will put a car on stage. Starfield. Let's talk about Starfield. Obviously, Starfield is the biggest game that will be at the showcase that is coming this year. So no doubt it'll be a game that everyone's very much looking forward to. I just, I don't focus on it too much because, again, it's like we know Starfield's coming out in a couple months. We know Starfield is a game this year. We've already seen Starfield gameplay. We're already hyped and excited about it. We don't need to really necessarily see any more to know we want to play it, et cetera, et cetera. In fact, I've actually become more and more excited for Starfield as time has gone on. I'm pretty optimistic about the game. But again, it's like Starfield isn't a game where it's like, oh, I wonder what Starfield looks like. Fable is a game where I wonder what Fable looks like. I've seen Starfield. Haven't seen Fable. So I didn't put a whole lot of predictions in here for Starfield, but the one I did put is that Starfield will disappoint fans by being 60 frames per second only on PC. It will be 45 FPS on Xbox Series X and 30 FPS on Xbox Series S. Now, one little disclaimer, contingency, whatever. If they do announce an Xbox Series X version X mid-generation upgrade console, then that box will be able to run Starfield at 60 FPS. But the Series X will not be able to. That's my prediction. It's going to break hearts. It is what it is. But yeah, Phil Spencer promised we would find out about that at this showcase. And so we're about to find out. I'm either right or I'm wrong, but God, I hope I'm wrong. So that's my prediction for Starfield. I think we're all expecting it to come out in early September, the September 6th date. So, it's been confirmed for September 6th. So anyway, I think it'll make the date. I don't think it'll get delayed. So now my next prediction is, there's not much to say about it. I said there will be no updates whatsoever on Outer Worlds 2. And to that, I say, yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Now, my next update, and I should have put this earlier with the other games, but I'm going to put it here. Avowed. Avowed will be shown. We will get a gameplay reveal, and it will be a 2024, maybe 2025 game. I don't know that they'll put a date on it, but I do think we will see the game in action. And again, let me just reiterate now that we have Avowed. I don't have anything really special to say about Avowed. I think there's a decent chance, again, that they get Danny DeVito to do the voice acting for someone in the game. Again, it's just we haven't seen gameplay, so I don't know who would voice it. But Avowed, Hellblade 2, Fable, Perfect Dark, Contraband, State of Decay 3. Those are 6 games that I could see coming out in 2024, some of which I could see coming out in 2025, but that's a lot of games already. So Xbox is starting to look a little stacked for the next couple of years. Again, it's like, I know last year was abysmal. This year is a lot more games, but a little hit or miss on the quality. Next year we have potential to start really popping off with these games. So Xbox, I'm expecting to see, at the very least, release windows, even if not specific dates, release windows on these games. So there's Avowed. We will see Avowed. We will not see Outer Worlds 2. Next up, Stalker 2. We will get another trailer, but this will not be like any other trailer we've seen for the game. It's not simply going to be a trailer showing gameplay. It will rather be a trailer that reveals the date for the game now. However, the trailer will focus on what the experience has been like the past few years for developers living and working in the Ukraine amidst this war with Russia, and what it'll be like a heart tugging, tear jerker kind of trailer, just talking about like how rough it's been getting through this game, and how it's a huge passion to make this game happen, and there's a lot of ambition and desire to see it through the end, and it's a lot of thing that's keeping people going right now during a tumultuous time for the people of Ukraine. And that will be the trailer. It will have a release date. It will show some gameplay, and it'll be interspersed with like little interview quotes and questions and lines from various developers working on the game in the Ukraine. So that is my guess for Stalker 2. It will be a little bit emotional. It'll be a little sad, and then we'll get some kind of date for Stalker 2. So that is, not to take something so freaking devastating and sad as death and war and try to, capitalize off of it. But I feel like that is what they will do with Stalker 2. I don't know why I have that inclination. My next one here, this goes into the absolutely this will happen category, of course, which is that Xbox will announce a brand new Phil Spencer bobblehead available exclusively on the Xbox Store for people who have 100,000 gamer score or more. You cannot purchase this. You're ineligible if you don't have at least 100,000 gamer score. So you better start grinding. because this Phil Spencer bobblehead won't be in stock forever, so that's my next prediction. After that, I said Everwild will still be notably missing in action. We will not see a trailer. We will not get an update. We will not see gameplay. We will get nothing for Everwild. The only update you're going to see from Rare is going to be Sea of Thieves season of the ship steer update 75. That's all we're going to see. But Everwild, MIA, I think they went back to the drawing board. That game's basically restarting. They are a ways off from showing Everwild. That's my guess. Next up, I think for Game Pass, we are going to see a family plan announced for more of the major Xbox markets like the US. We know it's been in various test markets in certain parts of the world. I think if we get an update on Game Pass, they will talk about a family plan option rolling out this fall. It's a good way to kind of get people in with Starfield's already going to entice a lot of people, and then the family plan is going to make it so stupid for you not to join. I think this is the time to kind of roll out that feature. So if we get any update on Game Pass, it will be that the family plan is coming to some more major markets, including the US. And then I have two more predictions. I guess the next one's kind of about Starfield, although I said I was done with Starfield, but let's get into it. I said the Starfield controller and video game headset that have been leaking like crazy lately. You may have already seen photos of them. They've been all over the internet. But the headset and controller will be canceled. Microsoft will come out and outright cancel the controller and the headset, despite the fact that they've already manufactured them, in an attempt to kind of like align their identity and their brand with like Nintendo. You'll remember Nintendo canceled that Super Smash Bros. Campaign for the Nintendo Wii U back in the day because a bunch of fans leaked the game's campaign cutscenes online. And to punish fans, Nintendo, that's what they say at least, is to punish fans. Nintendo canceled the campaign for that Smash Bros. Game. I think Microsoft will follow suit and do something similar and say, you think you can just leak our Xbox controllers? Well, we'll show you, and they'll just cancel the controller altogether. No one gets it. No one wins. No one's happy. End of story. And that's what's going to happen there. All right. In my last prediction, and this one is going to be a big one. My last prediction. This is my pie in the sky out there. I don't think it's actually happening, but a guy can wish kind of prediction, which is that In Exile, who we know are working on a first-person open world RPG type game, will announce that they are working on a from the ground up remake, complete top to bottom remake of either Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas. In Exile. Come on. Former guys of Interplay, they created Fallout, and then, a little bit of the Obsidian guys got to work on it, Bethesda got to work on it, all these other hands, and now the original guys are going to get to go back and have their hands on Fallout, and they're going to do a New Vegas remake. That is my guess. I know people would love to see that happen. As Cronky notes, Todd Howard has said in the past, we don't really do remakes. That's fine. You don't need to do remakes. In Exile can do them. That's the beauty of them having access to, Xbox owning all of the different parties, is they can let whoever do whatever. So I know they like to let Bethesda kind of operate independent of Xbox Game Studios, and that's why this is a really silly idea. But I'm still going to go out on a limb here and say In Exile is working on a Fallout remake, probably of 3 or New Vegas. Let's fucking go. If they can re-release Skyrim a million times, why not Fallout, right? So, yeah, and I didn't mention, there's a couple things I didn't mention. I did not mention Compulsion Games. We know they have a game in development. Jez Corin over at Windows Central has given insider information about some of the details of that game. It's possible we see that game at this showcase. I don't know why I didn't include them. And then also I didn't include like Double Fine. But again, it's like, I don't know. Maybe we'll see them. I just, I guess it didn't come to mind to put either of those down. But it is worth noting that both of those teams were probably pretty close to the point where we're going to have to hear what they're working on next. So keep that in mind. But those are my predictions for the Xbox Showcase. You guys, let me know what you think. Sound off, comment back. Good predictions, bad predictions I had. Things you agree, disagree with, let me know. And then we got your predictions. So let's go through them, guys. I think about 6, 7 of you wrote in with your predictions. So let's just read them off, and we can kind of compare what I had with what you had. I'm sure some of you guys wrote in some pretty interesting idea. So Mike Clark wrote in and says, awesome show, Jesse. Predict your show won't stay small for long. My predictions go like this. Few third-party and indie games, Avowed gameplay, Fable gameplay, Forza release date, Hellblade 2 release date, Gears Collection announced, wish list, Vanquish 2, Mech Warrior, and have a great week. Eat your meat. Carbs are evil. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of these are safe bets. I also didn't mention the Gears Collection. I know a lot of people, the rumor is there's a Gears of War kind of collection akin to like a Master Chief Collection for Gears of War, the Marcus Phoenix Collection, so to speak. Yeah, I didn't mention that one. I kind of hope that's true as well. I would love to be able to go back, especially play like Gears 2 and 3 remade. I think that could be a pretty cool way to kind of tide people over while we wait for Gears 6, since that's probably going to be a ways out, since the Coalition basically is just now starting on that. So that's a good prediction, and I think it would be a nice thing for the fans, just so that we got some Gears in our corner while we wait for more. So Vanquish 2, that'd be cool. Mech Warrior. Ooh, Vanquish 2 would be good. Thank you for writing in, Mike. Here's hoping that you have the magic ability to will all these into existence, because I'd love to see a Gears of War collection. All right, Jonathan writes in and says, I predict Phil Spencer wears a black leather jacket and t-shirt depicting him doing a fatality on Jim Ryan. He announces the exclusivity rights to GTA 6, Armored Core 6, and announces the acquisition of Koei Tecmo, and finally a quality Dead or Alive or Ninja Gaiden game again. Then Doug Bowser of Nintendo joins the stage, and they announce a merge of Nintendo and Xbox, and they played Tears of the Kingdom on Xbox at 4K 120. And it is amazing. Then Doug Bowser leaves, and a man in a space jumps on stage. It's Todd, filled together with Todd Howard, smoke a joint. God Howard, smoke a joint on stage while playing some Starfield at 120 FPS 4K on console, having a good time and laughing at the media's expense. Then they show ray tracing Minecraft, and it's downloadable right now, and they say finally. Oh yeah, I forgot. It wasn't that like canceled. Then they show things we already know about: Senua's Saga, or Hellblade 2, Avowed, some Forza, some other already announced stuff, Gears Collection, the current stuff Coalition, other Xbox teams are working on, Age of Empires, indies, some finally a brawler, and with an Xbox character like Smash Bros. Game. And just when it all looks like it's over, they reveal a big surprise, but cannot go spoiling what that is. Well, now you left us on a cliffhanger. What are you, Spider-Man? But anyway, good stuff. Thank you for writing in. I love the idea of an Xbox Smash Brothers game, but I don't think Xbox has a vast enough and good enough stable of characters to pull that off. But I do love the idea of it. But I more so, I just love the idea of, first of all, Koei Tecmo, such a weird acquisition for them to do. But I love the idea of Phil Spencer and Doug Bowser, or Todd Howard rather, just smoking a joint on stage while someone like half-ass plays Starfield in the background. But like the camera's really focused on these two, just laughing uncontrollably, smoking a joint. And Phil Spencer and Todd Howard keep breaking the rule of TV where they're supposed to be interacting with each other, but they keep staring at the camera instead, and they keep pointing and going, ha ha ha, this is so funny, we're getting high, and it's great, and IGN puts it up, and I love it. It's just so good. So Todd Howard, Phil Spencer, smoking a joint, buying Koei Tecmo. I'm ready for it. Let's fucking go. I'm ready for Jonathan's E3. I keep wanting to call it E3, but you know what I mean. BP Fatio writes in and says, going out on a limb and predicting / hoping for a Splinter Cell collection. This is a great one. I would love a Splinter Cell collection. I know everyone wants a Splinter Cell remake that is coming / canceled / not coming / coming. But you got to keep in mind, Ubisoft's Forward event is the day after this showcase. So, shit. I might, maybe what we should do is wait till the Ubisoft Forward event and then do the show. Like, record the show on Monday and have it go live Tuesday. I think that's what we'll probably do, actually. Yeah, I gotta think about that. I guess I'll figure that out on my own. But yeah, the Ubisoft Forward event is the day after the Xbox event on Monday. So I think if there's gonna be a Splinter Cell announcement, we'll probably see it at that Ubisoft event. Although, here is hoping that would be cool. Cronky writes in and says, couple of predictions for the show. 1, Xbox acquires NetherRealm from WB and Jesse starts loving Mortal Kombat all of a sudden. 2, no Fable, no Outer Worlds, no Perfect Dark. You're going to get livid over this, but the rest of us will conclude that they showed enough cool stuff and that we're content. 3, We Happy 2 will be shown and it will be awesome. 4, Aura and Age of Empires 4 will get release dates on Xbox. And 5, Hellblade 2 finally. Cronky, I absolutely hate your predictions list. I hate it so much. I hope Xbox goes out of business before they can do whatever showcase you just described. I hate it, and you made me mad, so bye. Dead Captain James writes in and says, I'm so ready for D4, as the kids say. Let's go. Diablo 4. I was like, I know what that is. Diablo 4. For the Xbox showcase, the only game from them I'm excited for is Fable now. We need to see gameplay. I agree. I think we'll see it. Dead Captain James, I'm excited that you're excited for Destiny 4. But yeah, let's fucking go. Fable. Last prediction comes from Sam Torres, who writes in and says, as a veteran of the second, third, and fourth console wars, I'm mourning the Dreamcast like a missing limb. I have to say, Sony loved their obsession with Square's Final Fantasy main series side sickens me lot. Let me try that again. Sony's love and obsession with Square's Final Fantasy main series sickens me a lot. Don't fuck with us, determined, uninhibited Xbox goons, Square. My money is green too. Good podcast. $4.39 for a tasty green burrito with steak and potatoes. Also, my predictions, fuck you, wish list, is X-Men Legends 3, fuck yeah. Activision, you pigs, do everyone a favor and branch back out. More variety means less discrimination. Skylanders Infinity crossover. Toys to Life needs to come back. Rub the lamp. Get 3 wishes. Fable retains farting. Okay. You might get the last part, but yeah, dude. Skylanders and Disney Infinity have a crossover. Let's make it fucking happen. That's what would happen if... Well, no, that's not WB. That's Disney. I don't know. But, dude, X-Men Legends 3, dude, thank you. I love Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Those games are fun, and I get why people love them, and I like them too. But, man, I always had, like, back in the day of, like, Spider-Man Friend or Foe, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, all these games, X-Men Legends, for some reason, X-Men Legends was the one that really did it for me. And I'm right there with you, man. If they could do... Honestly, that's something Nintendo should do. They did Ultimate Alliance 3. They should do the same thing and try to get an X-Men Legends game going, because I would love to play X-Men Legends again. It's such a fucking... such a good game. Please make an X-Men Legends 3. Dude, that... Honest to God, though... Oh, wait, never mind. I was about to say, since Sony has Spider-Man as an exclusive... Marvel needs to figure out if they can, or Xbox needs to figure out if they can get with Marvel and get like an exclusive X-Men game. And then I realized, oh wait, Sony is already getting a a Wolverine game. I can't speak. So, damn, that sucks, because that would be so good. That would be so good. X-Men, Xbox, Spider-Man, Sony. So it just makes sense, dude. The S's with the S's, the X's with the X's. I'm all about it. I want X-Men Legends 3. Thank you, Sam, for writing in. Thank you all for writing in with your predictions. You guys, that's it for our predictions for the Xbox Showcase. In just a few short days, the actual event will take place, and then we can see who was right, who was wrong, and who was just flying too close to the sun, you know? Let's wrap up the podcast with some important enough news, stories important enough to make the podcast, but not important enough to warrant their own discussions, and then we'll get out of here with some closing comments from the audience. What do you say? So real quick, ranting them off, rattling them off, whatever you want to say. Western Digital has officially released their Xbox Series S and X expansion cards, so that Seagate is not the only option on the market. 50 gig version is available for $80. A terabyte card is available for $150, and also comes with a 1 month of Game Pass Ultimate. And also important to note, Western Digital also just released some new solid state drives for PS5, and they're not much different price wise. So interesting to see that. Next up, Capcom announced that they will be hosting a Capcom showcase next week on Monday, June 12th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So, take that Ubisoft forward. Next up, Civilization Studio Firaxis and Witcher maker CD Projekt Red have both confirmed a round of layoffs. 2K Studios Firaxis reported a layoff of about 30 developers on Tuesday, while similar numbers of employees have been cut by CD Projekt Red as it winds down support of Gwent, the Witcher card game. That sucks. In February, 2K and Rockstar owner Take-Two said that they were planning some layoffs as part of a $50 million cost reduction program. So, Next up, the upcoming Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater remake will reuse voice lines from the original game. Konami said that they will star the original voice characters, rich storytelling, expansive features, combat, and survival in harsh environments involved with unprecedented graphics and immersive sound. So, not a really good sign. I feel like if you're doing a ground-up remake, you probably want to redo the whole thing, but weird corner-cutting kind of measure it seems like there. Next up, Sonic the Hedgehog co-creator Yuji Naka has officially been sentenced to 2.5 years of prison and a fine of over $1.2 million for his insider trading scheme at Square Enix that he got caught for recently. So, yeah. Final decision is expected to be made on July 7th. He was charged with violating the Japanese Financial Instruments and Exchange Act by illegally buying in shares based on insider info. Next up, the Crew Motorfest gameplay video showing off leaked footage of the game is appearing online. A 25-minute video published on YouTube has already been removed and copywritten by Ubisoft, but the game is clearly real and clearly happening. We will probably see it released, or not released, but announced at the Ubisoft Forward event on June 12th. And next up, Microsoft announces that Starfield's Xbox wireless controller and headset will be announced during the data miner and leaker Billy Bill Kun has said that the Starfield Xbox controller and headset will be made available immediately after the showcase when they're revealed on June 11th. After many leaks and rumors, the controller is going to cost $80 US. Like I said, they will cancel it. And then finally, Payday 3 is seemingly targeting a September release, according to reliable leaker Aggiornamenti Lumia, the data miner who regularly reports on listings on Xbox and Windows stores before they're made public. Payday 3 is set to release on September 21st, 2023, he tweeted on Tuesday, so possibly that will be confirmed at one of these events, maybe Summer Game Fest or something like that, so look out for that. All right, finally, guys, that's going to bring us to the end of the podcast this week, where we go to the customer listener questions, comments, shout-outs, things of that nature. We've got a whole lot of them, so we're going to rattle through some of these real quick lightning round because I am running out of my voice is giving out, just talking too much. So let's get into this directly. We got 13 write-ins, starting with Mr. Mao. Let's fucking go. He says, Ratchet & Clank coming out on PC is on my birthday is tempting, but PlayStation first-party ports on PC haven't really been well optimized, so I'm hesitant. I think that's something Xbox doesn't get enough credit for. Their PC ports have really been well optimized. Yeah, usually, but PlayStation's kind of hit or miss depending on who's doing it, and this one's being done by not Bluepoint, but I forget what they're called, but that team that's Sony literally acquired just for ports, and apparently they're pretty good. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't buy it until it's been out for a little minute and you see kind of how people are responding to it, but I assume it will be pretty okay. I don't think it's going to be disastrous like Last of Us or anything, but it's, of course, they've given you good reason to be hesitant. OG Man writes in and says, Jesse, I just bought SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom for $10 on sale. Hell yeah. Well, hell yeah, OG Man. Mavsman, long time no see, writes in and says, Jesse, I come to you in my darkest hour. I may not be commenting as much as I used to. I lurk in the shadows, waiting for my triumphant return. Sadly, this will not be it. I come to you broken and ashamed, about to utter words I never thought I'd bring to myself to say, but here we are. As any OG Xbox On fan would know, me and you share a great fondness of Taco Bell and Mountain Dew. With great regret, I must swear off both. My daily trips to Taco Bell for chicken. Yes, chicken. Any civilized person knows sub-chicken for beef any day, every day. Amen, brother. Crunchwrap Supremes and God's nectar that Baja Blast must come to an end. Doctor's orders. My cholesterol, sodium, and my pre-diabetic numbers do not agree. I know there's always zero sugar options, but who are we kidding? It's not the same. Wish you were closer so I could bestow my fridge full of all the wonders of Whiteout, Voodoo 2023, Voltage Baja Blast, Baja Mango, Code Red, Summer Bomb Pop, Spark, and OG Mountain Dew. Sadly, I'll donate to some unfortunate child on the road to diabetes himself. Mavs, man, thank you for writing in. It's always good to hear from you, man. And you know what? I try to be, uplifting about it. Here's the thing is, I've been going through, I got insurance. I have a job. I got insurance. I'm trying to make use of it. Now that I'm like paying for insurance. I'm not a child anymore, milking off mommy and daddy's insurance plan anymore. I'm trying to like be good about like, I'm an adult. I need to take care of my body. I'm paying for this insurance. I need to use it. So I'm trying to like be good. So like the past couple months, God, fuck Florida, dude. The medical system here is so fucking broken in particular, more so than anywhere else in the country. But side note, it's just going to the doctors here. It's like, oh my God, every doctor's appointments, like you got to wait a month and a half just to do anything here. But nonetheless, I've been going to dentist, doctor, eye doctor appointments like crazy the past couple months, just trying to get routine checkups, look at this, look at that, learn about this, get some mileage out of my insurance, the whole nine. And I gotta be honest, man, the way I'm trying to like spin this, now that I'm getting older, I'm getting to that point where it's like, you know, when you're a kid, you can just go to the doctor if you're blessed and fortunate and privileged enough to be like I was as a child and just be one of those kids. It's like I can treat my body like shit, go to the doctor, they'll tell me I'm perfectly healthy, then keep going on playing around in the backyard, whatever. I'm getting to that age now where it's like you got to give a shit about your body, because when you go to the doctor, they're not going to just pat you on the back and say, well, Johnny, you're in good health. Keep up the good work. They're going to be like, hey, man, why are you sitting on your ass 20 hours a day, eating McDonald's, never working out? You got to do something. And so I'm trying to be optimistic about it and be like, how blessed are we, you know, to be able to be alive during a time where we have access readily available, all this information, just easy right there to tell us like, hey man, this is stuff you shouldn't be doing in your body. This is why this is bad for your body. Here's what you can do to be better. Obviously, take some personal discipline, some lifestyle changes, it's some hard work to make the necessary adjustments. But it's truly a blessing and a privilege to be able to live in a world where you can just go to your doctor. Your doctor can identify exactly the things that are preventing you from being optimally healthy, and you can work on targeting those direct things to better yourself. It sucks because, I'm with you, man. Like the Taco Bell, the Mountain Dew, it's an identity thing, you know? It's like part of your brand. It's like if I don't have Mountain Dew, if I don't have Taco Bell, it's not just like I'll miss the taste of those products. It's like, who am I as a person? People will start to question me. I'll be less cool. People won't really let me sit with them at lunch anymore. It's like that kind of thing where it's like your brand starts to die out. But all joking aside and just trying to be serious, it's like, I don't know, it's pretty awesome that we don't live in like the fucking medieval times where it's like, oh no, I'm getting fat and I feel tired every day. What's going on with me? And they're like, well, you got a lot of evil energy. What we need to do is drill a hole in your arm and let blood pour out until the fat evilness goes away, and then you'll be healthy again. You know, it's like we can go to a doctor and they're like, stop eating chalupas and Taco Bell, and you should actually get in better shape from that. So it sucks. Yeah, it does suck. You have to make a lifestyle change. I understand. I've been trying to work on that stuff the past few years. I eat way less Taco Bell now than I used to. I swear to God, I used to eat like Taco Bell or McDonald's or something at least once a week, and nowadays it's like a fucking once in a lifetime treat for me. It's like maybe once a month, once every other month kind of thing. I barely ever eat Taco Bell anymore, and it's hard. But I want to let you know, Mavs man, this is not bad news. This is not a regretful day. This is a great day, because this is an opportunity for you to take care of yourself, just like it's an opportunity for me to take care of myself, just like it's an opportunity for all of us to say, hey, I have access to the information and the tools and everything I need to take care of myself. And we're going to be optimistic about it. We're going to be grateful that we live in a time where it's easy for us to isolate and identify problems so that we can make progress and make changes that are necessary for a healthier, happier lifestyle. And that's all there is to it. Never mind the fact that Mountain Dew is just a really cool brand. Maybe the can just looks cool, and sometimes you don't drink it because you want to drink it. You just like the way it smells or something like that. But unfortunately, we do have to take care of ourselves and watch what we eat. And fortunately, we have the means and the resources to tackle these things and do just that. So I'm happy for you, Mavs, man. I'm happy that you had the opportunity to take on this challenge to say no to the do and to not ring the bell and to take care of yourself, because I'm struggling with it too, man, to be honest. I'm trying to lose weight, trying to keep my thing is sodium and blood pressure. My fucking blood pressure's through the roof. It's just, my doctor's like, I think it's stress. She's like, are you stressed? I'm like, I don't know. Everything's always wrong, right? Everything's stressful. Isn't that how everyone feels? And I swear, dude, I went to my fucking eye doctor the other day to get a new prescription of contacts. I literally just wanted them to give me more contacts lenses. And the motherfucking eye doctor took my blood pressure and told me my blood pressure was high. I was like, you're supposed to fucking look at my eyes. What are you doing taking my blood pressure? It's insane, dude, everywhere you go. And God bless the state of Florida. I swear the fuck, all these medical professionals are bought out by some fucking pharmaceutical or just snake oil salesman. Like, everyone's like, do you have sleep apnea? Do you want to buy a sleep apnea machine? I'm like, dude, I'm fucking 28 years old. Leave me the hell alone. I'm not snoring with fucking nose hairs yet. Give me like 10 more years, please. But anyway, let's all take care of ourselves. Let's eat well. It's cool to have the identity, the Mountain Dew, of course. I sit here with a can of Mountain Dew that sits at my desk that I haven't drank, but I've just kept here because I like the artwork on it. And, every now and then you can treat yourself, have a little bit of Taco Bell, a little bit of Mountain Dew, but for the most part, I think if you just stick to brown liquor and steak, you should be mostly fine. What do you think? I don't know. Cronky writes in and says, serious question, not baiting because of recent news and moods, but it's a hypothetical, real one. Would you rather Xbox deliver max 1 game per year, but it's like top tier AAA Oscar quality, or like 3 games a year, but they're more like Redfall Psychonauts level where they're fun, but they're not going to light the world on fire? Personally, I go back and forth. There's so much third-party support these days. There's no real need for Sony or Microsoft to put up shovelware. Game Pass, yeah, I know. Hear me out, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of want to see where Xbox got that crazy quality. Or I kind of want to see Xbox go for that crazy quality. But at the same time, I tend to prefer the stuff they currently make to that Oscar bait stuff. Well, I mean, obviously, the answer is always going to be a little of both, right? Because don't you want the games that aren't really trying to reinvent the wheel, but are trying to just be really cool, fun new games? And then sometimes you do want something that's like, oh man, this is like an experience more than it's a game. It's going to make you cry. It's going to make you feel. It's going to be something beautiful that you'll remember forever and ever and ever after you finish it. Sure, you want both of those things, but if you can only have one, I think fun games that are just an enjoyable, relaxing, good time are more important than a game that's like, wow, I love at the end of it where you killed all those doctors and took the cure for the zombie apocalypse and ran away with it. I don't know. But I think there are games, I contend there are games that can kind of do a little bit of both. I think the new God of War games kind of do that. I think Remedy kind of does that with games like Alan Wake and Quantum Break and things like that. I think the Coalition did that with Gears 5, so I think you can have the best of both worlds. But yeah, if I can only choose one, I choose fun games over like groundbreaking, narrative-driven Oscar bait style games for sure. Headhunting Halo wrote in and says, what a great episode. Are you planning on playing Diablo? And yeah, I cannot wait to put time into Fable. Please just don't make it like 3. We need the old style Fable back. Sadly, I don't think it's going to happen, but go through, hey, I'm ready to be called Chicken Chase all over again. Starfield is going to make me it's going to take over my life though. Who else hates LeBron James? I want to know. Have a great week, Jesse. Before I go, who's your favorite Ninja Turtle? Okay, favorite Ninja Turtle is the red one. I think that's Raphael. Not a huge Ninja Turtles fan, but I like Raphael. Let's go backwards. I don't know why you hate LeBron James. I don't hate LeBron James. The man's never wronged me. I don't know. He never insulted my family or anything, if that's what you're saying. Fable, confession time. I've never played Fable 2 and 3, and I barely played Fable 1, so I'm really excited to just be introduced and immersed to the world of Fable with this new game. So I can't speak to that, but I do know fans tend to think Fable 1's the best. Fable 2 is great. Fable 3 is a little bit of a step in the wrong direction, but still a fun game, and that's kind of the general reception to Fable from what I understand. And what did I think about playing Diablo? Probably not going to play it till it's on sale or Game Pass one day, but I'm happy for people who are happy for it. Way of the Lao writes in, I might have to bridge this because I literally can't talk. I'm running out of voice right now, and says, Jesse, hello, best wishes. I wanted to say I've enjoyed listening to the podcast Thursday, which is actually my Friday at work. It's refreshing to listen to a show that sort of has a format that it follows but really doesn't. I have what you call attention deficit disorder. I wanted to say thank you for putting on the timestamps on the videos. Great job, my dude. Thank you. Yes, I do know I know it's a great show, even though you are one of the biggest Xbots out there. Am I right, ponies? Nah, lol, JK dude. Hey, sometimes someone's out there listening to this and they are a console warrior douchebag. Take that crap and shove it somewhere else, please. Please, kindly. We say kindly here. I don't want one of those shows. I don't want one of the shows I listen to filled with 40-year-old virgins that like to be toxic to people who don't agree with it. What do you have against 40-year-old virgins, Mr. Wadlow? On the topic of Diablo, well, dude, this is one of the few games that this old man has nostalgia for. Flashback to the year 2004, a young Lau just bought his first Windows XP machine, hey, and just so happens that the local bookstore they were selling Diablo 2. After some debate, he decided to buy it, and the rest is history. Love the gameplay. Furthermore, the cutscenes blew my mind because they were such high quality. A young man like myself, well, fast forward now, and I'm broke down and like a tool and pre-ordered Diablo 4. Well, I mean, the cinematics are still just as good, so if that helps. But yeah, no, man, I'm excited for people, again, like that. Like, I'm excited for people. I know Diablo is one of those franchises that has that, like, history love. I know Diablo 2 in particular is that game that people just have an undying love for, so it's exciting to see those people get their game. But yeah, I appreciate you writing in, supporting the show as always, man. Way to allow you. You're one of those OGs, so I just want to let you know you matter more than other people. I don't pick favorites, but like if I had to pick who is going to live and who is going to die based on an arbitrary amount of likeness, based on how long you've listened to the show and how often you've commented in and supported the stream, I'm just going to say you might not die as fast as some of the other people if I have to pick and choose. I'm not saying I'm going to kill anyone. I'm not trying to say I know your social security number and have access to your home address or anything of that nature. I'm just trying to say, Way of the Lao, that you would not be even close to one of the first person to die because you have just been that supportive and great all this time. So Way of the Lao, I hope you enjoy your fruitful life. I hope you enjoy your Diablo 4. Have a wonderful day, and remember, every 40-year-old virgin is a 20. For every 40-year-old virgin, there's a 20-year-old man whore. So, Cronky writes in and says, Golb's a solid 5 or 6 out of 10, like a real 5 or 6. Not great, not bad. The character models look like ass. Gameplay's mixed. Feels like a good move around once you get past the PS2 level issues sometimes. And then I didn't take the whole screenshot, so I missed the rest of it. So, Cronky's out here defending Gollum. Someone fight Cronky. Let's see. Does somebody have anything to say? Anybody else play the game and have some shit to talk? Tim R. writes in and says the paper case thing that holds cards that you mentioned last week is called a tuck box. This was supposed to go in the corrections. I'm sorry that you're down here in the comments. Something I learned recently, so now I have to point it out and completely useless. Those things are point out how completely clueless to those that don't know. Tim R., thank you for writing in and letting me know this. So we talked about the 52 card deck. The little paper case it comes in is called a tuck box. Now I know I am less ignorant, but I am more stupid somehow. Thank you for writing in, Tim R. Thank you. Mike Clark says, love to have either Infinity Ward or Machine Games take a crack at the next Halo. Bro, the next Halo needs to be done by Treyarch, not Infinity Ward, because Treyarch makes zombies, and I want a fucking Halo zombies game with the Flood, and I want to fortify my base as Master Chief and fend off waves of oncoming Flood. But yes, I agree. It'd be cool to see someone take a crack at Halo other than 343. Jonathan writes in and says, great show, dude. Seeing and hearing about the character creator in Street Fighter got me to buy it. Love that game. Hopefully the game itself is great as well. Yeah, I hear it's great. I feel like everyone I know is fucking playing it. And I don't know anything about it. I'm not playing it, but apparently it's really good. So I hope you enjoy it. And you said, I also just love game shows. Enjoyed that Sony show, and I'm looking forward to the Xbox One. It's just great. Fuck the haters and the fanboys. Hey, I agree. I honestly agree. All the shows are fun. Some are more fun than others, but they're all fun to watch. The Sony show, even if you don't have a PS5, it's just really cool to see what's going on in the world of gaming. Ubisoft event, some of those other ones like the Capcom event, they're less exciting, but they're still interesting to see like what's going on. And then of course the Xbox One, that one's like fucking Christmas morning, you know? Like the other ones, it's like it's a day of Hanukkah. You get like a gift, you know? Day 1, day 2, you get a gift. The Xbox Showcase, that's like motherfucking Christmas morning, because you go under the tree and you got fucking G.I. Joes, Transformers, your sister's clothes that your mom accidentally put your name on when it was supposed to be her gift, and now you're wondering how you're gonna fit into a size C bra. But whatever, I guess it's Christmas. Anything is possible. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about, and I just love these showcases, so I'm looking forward to it. Mike Clark writes in and says, I hate leaving multiple posts, but I'm that balding 50-year-old guy who has his mother living with me. Now, as a defense, I said balding guy who lives with his mom. I did not say balding guy whose mother lives with him. Very different things. Shout out to the bald people. Hair loss is no joke. It's a serious thing, and it fucking sucks, and I hate that anyone has to go through that. So, Mike Clark, you are cool. You are cooler than most other people, and my work told me I have to stop saying this, but this isn't my job. This is my podcast, so fuck it. I'm going to say it anyway. You have big penis. Cronky writes in and says, shout out to the PC Game Showcase, also on June 11th. It usually shows some awesome stuff, and most of the time the shows are going to be on Xbox anyway. Most of the games they show are going to be on Xbox anyway. So, yeah, I mean, that valid, fair. I always disregard the PC Game Showcase, but yes, good to see you're looking out for it, because God knows I'm not. And then our last comment comes from none other than the great, I almost said the late great, but not late, just the great Arctic Chief. Speaking of people who have huge you-know-whats, I'm not going to say it because I can get in trouble. Arctic Chief, welcome to the show. He says, okay, I've got some making up to do, so I'm going to go do it rapidly. I'm looking forward to actually seeing Fable. It's mostly it's my most anticipated game right now. I'm excited to see more Starfield. I love Skyrim, and I have hopes for Skyrim in space. They're working on it. I hope so too, man. I'm currently trying to play Tears of the Kingdom and getting back into Destiny 2 at the same time. Work's been busy, life has been busy, trying to get a house in order to sell while actively looking for another house. You know what I mean there. God damn, dude. And I'm on easy mode, dude, because I'm buying a new build home, so it's like I got time. You know, there's time to work out the details, but sell a house and buy a house, God fucking bless you, Arctic Chief. I hope, I hope you make $1 billion off that first house and then just build yourself a mansion in the middle of the woods, because it's a nightmare. Sorry. And Tears of the Kingdom is no light gaming to be doing on the side while you're doing all that too. Finally, cotton candy ice cream is the only flavor you should be eating. I only eat ice cream when Dairy Queen brings back their summer flavors, and cotton candy is one of them. I'm looking forward to the Xbox Summer Showcase and stream on Sunday. I'll be there in the chat, but I'll be working 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., but I'll be there. Holy shit, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. on a Sunday. Goddamn, Arctic Chief. Thank you. I appreciate the support as always. Again, I'm just saying, I'm not saying nobody should live or die. I think everyone should live, in fact. I think we should all have prosperous, beautiful, long lives. But if I had to pick who I think is a more important human being and who's more deserving of life than others, there are certain people I'm predisposed to like more than others. Arctic Chief, you've been around for quite a while. You've even made it into some of my YouTube videos, so I'm just going to say you probably make the top of the list. Maybe you buy a big house and you get a good price on it. Maybe you even get, God forbid, a decent interest rate in this economy. That'd be quite nice. I wish wealth for you. I wish wealth and happiness and lots of prosperity. Your children, I hope they all grow up to have very big retirement accounts. And also, look at that, it's very PC to say that. And then did I mention cotton candy ice cream last week? That's kind of what I'm like stuck on right now. That's where my brain's really going. Did I bring that up? Because I don't know if I brought that up and this is a response to that, or if you're just being extraordinarily random, but amen, brother, dude. Cotton candy is the fucking... I don't care how embarrassing it is to be my age. You'd be like, yes, I like cotton candy ice cream. I'm not 7 years old, I know. Cotton candy ice cream is amazing, and if you don't agree, you can vote for a dead president like George Washington. He's dead, so haha, your vote doesn't count. He's dead, and now you're wasting your vote. So cotton candy ice cream, very delicious, very fun. Brewster's Ice Cream, shout out to Brewster's Ice Cream. They're not here in Florida, so I haven't been able to eat there in so many years, but Brewster's Ice Cream has a flavor called Cotton Candy Explosion, and they put Pop Rocks, like candy-coated Pop Rocks, in the middle of the ice cream, so it's like you get the poppy crunchiness and the cotton candy creaminess, and it's so good. I love that ice cream so much. We have Twisty Treat down here. It's also very excellent ice cream. So Twisty Treat, they got a really good cotton candy ice cream as well. And, oh man, I haven't had Dairy Queen in so long. I don't even know where there's a Dairy Queen around here, but I would love to have Dairy Queen's cotton candy ice cream as well. Arctic Chief, we're talking about being healthy just a couple comments ago. I'm boring Mavs Man to sleep with my comments about the blessing of modern medicine and all this bullshit. And you're over here talking about fucking cotton candy ice cream. We can't have it both ways, Arctic Chief, okay? We can't be eating cotton candy ice cream if we're trying to get muscular so that maybe we can distract from our skin wrinkling as we get older by having thick, fat muscles similar but not exactly like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So stop it, Arctic Chief. We gotta stay in shape. I think instead of ice cream, we should just have water for everybody. You can take those Mio things and squeeze them in there. It changes the flavor without adding any of the calories. It's a great alternative to ice cream. What do you say? And that is going to do it for our final comment. You guys, we're done. We're done. If you can't handle me rambling about everyone else's comments, there are timestamps. Just fucking click to where you want to go on the show. But if not, you're a psychopath because you just listened to all of that and you probably just took 4 years off your life doing that. So that's going to do it for our podcast this week, you guys. We're just a mere few days away from the Xbox Showcase. I'm hyped. I'm sure you're hyped. I can't wait to talk about it with you. So if you want to be there with me on Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, the only time zone worth a damn, twitch.tv/lightningextreme. Hang out with me. We'll chat it up. We'll watch the showcase together. And then I'll do a podcast and we'll release it a little earlier than usual. And then we'll talk about all the things that happened at the showcase, which I just cannot wait to get into. So you guys take care, be well, and until next week, power your dreams.